First, allow me to extend our warmest greetings and respect to Dr. Gumgum Gumelar, MSc, Dean of the Faculty of Psychology, Universitas Negeri Jakarta. Dr. Herdian Maulana, PhD, Vice Dean for Research, Innovation, and Partnership, Faculty of Psychology, Universitas Negeri Jakarta. Mrs. Reni Rustiawati, SPD, MA, Chair of the Psychology International Symposium. Esteemed faculty members, our invited speakers, and of course, all distinguished participants joining us today. Our program will commence with the three-speaker session, and in the afternoon, we shall proceed to the breakout oral presentations. To begin our proceedings, let us turn our attention to a cultural presentation, a reflection of the rich artistic and academic heritage of our university and our nation. This special presentation is brought to you by Psychostic from the Faculty of Psychology, showcasing traditional Indonesian songs to bring the spirit of the archipelago to our stage. Next, to give you a deeper sense of where today's program is rooted, we are pleased to present a short introduction video of our campus.
Universitas Negeri Jakarta, lembaga pendidikan tinggi negeri yang terletak di Jakarta, Indonesia. Didirikan dengan tujuan utama untuk menyediakan pendidikan tinggi berkualitas dan berkontribusi dalam pengembangan sumber daya manusia yang berkualitas untuk pembangunan bangsa. Universitas Negeri Jakarta memiliki banyak fakultas terbaik, salah satunya adalah Fakultas Pendidikan Psikologi. Fakultas Pendidikan Psikologi Universitas Negeri Jakarta memiliki 2 gedung utama yang terletak di Rawamangun, Jakarta Timur, dan Kampus D yang berada di Halimun, Jakarta Selatan. Fakultas Pendidikan Psikologi memiliki 2 program studi, yaitu program studi S1 Psikologi dan S2 Magister Sains Psikologi. Fakultas Pendidikan Psikologi UNJ memiliki dosen lulusan dalam dan luar negeri. Fakultas Pendidikan Psikologi Universitas Negeri Jakarta merupakan pusat keunggulan dalam bidang pendidikan, penelitian, dan penerapan ilmu psikologi di Indonesia. Kami telah berdedikasi untuk menghasilkan lulusan yang berkualitas, mengembangkan penelitian inovatif, dan berkontribusi positif terhadap masyarakat dan lingkungan sekitar. Kami memiliki tekad untuk menjadi fakultas yang terkemuka di tingkat nasional dalam pengembangan, penelitian, dan penerapan psikologi khususnya di bidang psikologi pendidikan pada tahun 2035. Hal ini bertujuan untuk menghasilkan lulusan psikologi yang profesional, karya-karya penelitian dalam bidang psikologi, kemitraan yang saling menguntungkan dengan stakeholders, informasi dan karya-karya inovatif yang dapat dimanfaatkan oleh masyarakat, dan menghasilkan lulusan yang mampu bersaing secara nasional maupun internasional. Ruang kelas dilengkapi dengan fasilitas modern, termasuk proyektor, layar, dan peralatan audio visual lainnya. Sehingga pengajar dapat menyampaikan materi pembelajaran dengan lebih efektif dan interaktif. Laboratorium psikologi yang terdiri dari laboratorium psikodiagnostik, laboratorium konseling individu, laboratorium konseling kelompok, laboratorium eksperimen, laboratorium komputer, laboratorium multimedia. Semua laboratorium dilengkapi dengan peralatan canggih. Hal ini tentunya diperlukan untuk menunjang pembelajaran. Laboratorium ini mendukung pengajaran dan penelitian dalam berbagai bidang ilmu psikologi, seperti psikologi klinis, psikologi sosial, psikologi pendidikan, eksperimen, psikologi industri organisasi, dan lainnya. Perpustakaan fakultas menyediakan koleksi buku, jurnal, artikel, dan sumber daya elektronik terkait psikologi. Ini merupakan sumber penting bagi mahasiswa dan dosen dalam melakukan penelitian dan pembelajaran. Fasilitas-fasilitas tersebut dirancang untuk menciptakan lingkungan pembelajaran yang inspiratif, mendukung penelitian berkualitas, dan memberikan pengalaman yang kaya bagi mahasiswa di Fakultas Pendidikan Psikologi UNJ. Fakultas Pendidikan Psikologi Universitas Negeri Jakarta menawarkan beragam kegiatan mahasiswa yang bertujuan untuk mengembangkan kemampuan akademik, sosial, dan kepemimpinan. Kegiatan-kegiatan ini membantu mahasiswa Fakultas Pendidikan Psikologi UNJ mendapatkan pengalaman holistik yang melampaui pembelajaran di dalam kelas, membantu mahasiswa tumbuh sebagai individu yang kompeten dan beretika dalam bidang psikologi. Fakultas Pendidikan Psikologi UNJ memiliki 2 jurnal nasional berreputasi, yaitu Jurnal Penelitian dan Pengukuran Psikologi, serta Jendela Akademika, Jurnal Pengabdian kepada Masyarakat. Sebagai pelaku utama dalam pembentukan dan pengembangan ilmu psikologi di Indonesia, Fakultas Pendidikan Psikologi UNJ terus bergerak maju dalam memberikan kontribusi berarti dalam pendidikan, penelitian, dan penerapan psikologi yang bermanfaat bagi masyarakat dan bangsa.
Now, it is with great honor that I invite the chair of the Psychology International Symposium, Mrs. Reni Rustiawati, SPD, MA, to deliver the welcome remark. Mrs. Reni, the screen is yours.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Dean and Vice Deans of the Faculty of Psychology Universitas Negeri Jakarta, our distinguished invited speakers, our respected college, and all participants of this symposium. On behalf of the organizing committee, I am truly delighted to welcome you to the first Psychology International Symposium of Well-being hosted by the Faculty of Psychology Universitas Negeri Jakarta. The symposium marks a meaningful milestone for our faculty as we bring together scholars and practitioners to reflect on our theme, Rethinking Well-being, Interdisciplinary and Global Perspectives on Human Flourishing. As an emerging center for well-being study in Indonesia, the Faculty of Psychology Universitas Negeri Jakarta is committed to contributing to global conversation on psychological well-being. Through the symposium, we aim to bring together respected scholars in the field to discuss and share their perspectives on the latest developments in well-being research. We believe that this platform will not only enrich academic dialogue, but also inspire new direction in practice, policy, and cross-cultural collaboration. The symposium was originally planned as a 2-day event, but after careful consideration, we have condensed it into 1 full day without reducing its essence and objectives. Today's program consists of 2 sessions. First, the plenary session featuring our keynote speaker, Dr. Gumgum Gumelar Fajarrahman, MSI, Dean of the Faculty of Psychology Universitas Negeri Jakarta, along with our invited speakers, Dr. Nurlaila Effendi from Universitas Katolik Widya Mandala, Surabaya, Associate Professor Dr. Mosen Josan-Lu from Keimyung University, South Korea, and Professor Madya Dr. Norbaya Abdul Qadir from University Kebangsaan Malaysia. Second, the parallel session where our presenters will share and discuss the results of their research, and all participants are welcome to join the session.
Hati-hati menonton.
Finally,
Dan
I would like to express my deepest gratitude to our keynote speaker and invited speaker for their valuable contributions, to our presenters and participants for their active engagement, and to the Faculty of Psychology Universitas Negeri Jakarta for their strong support. My heartfelt appreciation also goes to the organizing committee for their hard work, dedication, and commitment in preparing this event. May today's symposium be both meaningful and inspiring for everyone. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mrs. Rennie, for your meaningful message and for setting the stage for our symposium. Next, we are privileged to hear from the Dean of the Faculty of Psychology, Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Dr. Gumgum Gumelar, MSI. Dr. Gumgum will not only deliver his welcome remark, but also continue with the keynote address. With his expertise in organizational psychology and communication, he will share insights that set the intellectual foundation for our symposium. Dr. Gumgum, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Arin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace and blessing for all of us. Good morning, everyone. Distinguished guests, invited speaker, and all participants. On behalf of the Faculty of Psychology, Universitas Negeri Jakarta, I would like to welcome everyone on our first International Psychology Symposium. I also want to send my appreciation and warm greeting to all invited speakers, Dr. Mohsen, Dr. Nurbaya, and Dr. Laila for their time to share their valuable research experience. I also want to express my thanks to the symposium committee members for their dedication and hard work who made it possible for all of us to connect here today. And of course, to every participant and student joining us, thank you for being here. It is an honor for me when the committee asked me to deliver the keynote speech on the symposium, and today I would like to make a highlight on the digital well-being issues. Though we may be separated by distance, today virtual gathering remain us the greatest gift of technology, its power to connect us beyond border. And yet, as we will explore together, it's also remind us of the challenges that come with the hyper-connected world. Before we dive into the data and theory, I would like to share a small, very human moment from my own life. One morning, I set myself up in my favorite corner at home with a fresh cup of coffee, the kind that smells so good, it already feels like a good way to start the day. I opened my laptop, determined to finish a draft of an article I had been postponing for days. The plan was simple: 30 minutes of deep focus, reward with a short break. But then, ping, a WhatsApp notification appeared at the corner of my screen. Just a quick reply. That quick reply turned into scrolling through Instagram, checking an online store for something I didn't really need, and reading the comment section of a new post I wasn't even really interested. By the time I look up, my coffee was cold, my draft still untouched, my mind completely scattered. I call this the cold coffee phenomenon, when our best intention get quietly stolen by a stream of digital distraction. And here's my question to you, whenever you are right now, have you ever sat down to do something important and end up somewhere completely different because of your phone or your laptop? If we were in the same room, I'd ask you to raise your hand. Since we are online, maybe just nod or smile to yourself, because I'm willing to bet I'm not alone in this. That simple story, a cup of coffee gone cold, may seem trivial, but it's led me to a much bigger question. One that I believe is at the heart of our conversation today is, do we control technology or does technology control us? In our hyperconnected world, this question is not just
Kebetulan untuk
philosophical,
mata kuliah saya ada beberapa
it's
sih,
deeply
cuma
practical.
lab kali kalau untuk semester
It shapes how we focus, how we rest, how we relate to others, and even how we define a good life and well-being. And here's the thing, the answer is not as straightforward as we may think, because technology can be both tool that empower us and a force that quietly shape us in way we barely notice. Let's take a moment to step back and look at the bigger picture. Around the world, the average person taps, swipes, or click on their phone over 2,600 a day. That's not just checking message, that's unlocking, scrolling, liking, swiping, and toggling between apps. Thousands of micro interaction. In Indonesia, where many of us are connecting from today, the number are equally striking according to the data. Indonesia spend on average 3 hours and 11 minutes every single day on social media alone. And when you add in messaging apps, streaming platform, online shopping, and gaming, our daily screen time can easily surpass 8 hours. That's essentially a full-time job, except we are working those hours. Now, these numbers are not inherently bad. Technology connect us to loved one, make information accessible in second, and can even save life. I would be speaking to you right now without it. But, and this is important, hyperconnectivity come with an invisible cost. A cost measured not in dollar or rupiah, but in our attention span, our relationship, and sometimes our mental health. And here's what tricky. These costs are easy to ignore in the moment, but they accumulate over time. Like a slow leak in a tire, you only notice it when it's already affecting the ride. Before we go deeper, I want to make a clear distinction between two terms that are often used interchangeably, but actually mean different: digital health and digital well-being. Digital health focus on using technology to improve physical health and healthcare delivery. This include telemedicine, wearable device that monitor our heart rate, blood pressure, or sleep pattern. Fitness apps that track our step or calorie, and electronic medical record that make healthcare more efficient. It's about what technology can do for our body. For digital well-being, on the other hand, goes further. It's not just about physical health, it's about the quality of our relationship with technology itself. It asks, is technology help me live a richer, more meaningful life? Is it supporting my mental, emotional health? Is it enhancing my relationship, my focus, my learning? Digital well-being looks at the balance between the benefit and the cost of technology use across physical, mental, emotional, social, and cognitive dimensions. And here's the truth. A person can have excellent digital health using a smart watch to track their step, for example, and still have poor digital well-being if they are constantly distracted, anxious, or unable to sleep because of late night scrolling. So when we talk about navigating connection and overload, we are really talking about digital well-being, the art of making technology serve our humanity, not replace it. Now that we understand the what of digital well-being, let's talk about the why. Why it's so hard to maintain balance with our device. The answer lies in combination of neuroscience and design. Every time you get a notification, receive a likes, or see a new message, your brain releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter that signal pleasure and reward. Dopamine is not bad, it's what motivate us to seek food when we are hungry or connect with people we love. But here's the twist. Social media platform, games, and apps are intentionally designed to trigger dopamine in unpredictable ways. What psychologists call variable reward. It's it's the same mechanism used in slot machine. You don't win every time, and that unpredictability makes the behavior even more addictive. Combine that with the sheer volume of information, email, group chat, and endless newsfeed, and you get what researchers call cognitive overload. This overload doesn't just make us feel tired, it reduces our ability to focus deeply, weaken short-term memory, and increase mental fatigue. On the physical side, prolonged screen exposure can lead to digital eye strain, text neck, and disrupted sleep pattern due to blue light interfering with melatonin production. And for emotionally, constant exposure to careful curate online life can lead to FOMO, the fear of missing out, and even what researchers call the loneliness paradox, feeling more isolated despite being more connected than ever. So when we talk about overload, it's not just a metaphor, it is a real, measurable phenomenon in our brain, in our body, in our emotion. Here's one of the most paradoxical findings in modern psychology. We have never been more connected, and yet rate of loneliness are climbing across the globe. A study from University of Pennsylvania found that high level of social media use are associated with greater feeling of isolation. It's not because connection is bad, but because not all connection is created equal. Online interaction can be fast, frequent, and abundant, but they can also be shallow, performative, and lacking in emotional depth. Imagine scrolling through your feed late at night, you see friend loud a dinner you were not invited, colleague posting about professional achievement you haven't reached.
Oh, nggak apa.
Sorry, Dr. Gung Gung, your microphone is muted.
Okay. Online interaction can be fast, frequent, and abundant, but they can also be shallow, performative, and lacking in emotional depth. Imagine scrolling through your feed late at night, you see friend laugh at a dinner you weren't invited, colleague posting about professional achievement you haven't reached, influencer traveling to place you are never been. It's easy to feel like you are falling behind, even though rationally you know those posts are curated, highlight, not the full story. This creates what psychologists call social comparison fatigue, a constant, quietly background, I'm not enough. And here's the deeper cause. When we replace a face-to-face interaction with endless digital check-ins, we miss out the micro moment of connection that truly nourish us. A warm handshake, a shared laugh, the subtle comfort of someone present. So yes, technology can connect us, but without intentional use, it can also amplify loneliness. And that's why digital well-being is not just a personal matter, it's a social one. So far, we have talked about the challenges, but now let's focus on solution. Because digital well-being is not about rejecting technology, it's about reclaiming control over how we use it. I want to share with you a simple framework that I call the 3 pillars of navigating connection and overload. First pillar is awareness. You cannot change what you are not aware. Start by noticing your pattern. How many times do you check your phone in an hour? Which app drain your energy and which one that add value? Tool like digital well-being on Android or screen time on iOS can give you the number, but number alone are not enough. Reflect on how your usage makes you feel. The second pillar is boundaries. This is about creating intentional limit. Try strategies like time blocking, your social media use, setting no phone zone, for example, your dining table or bedroom, using focus mode during study or deep work session. Remember, boundaries are not about deprivation, they are about making space for the things that truly matter. The third pillar is, is connection quality. Not all connections are equal. Shift from quantity to quality or depth. Instead of liking 100 posts in 10 minutes, send one meaningful message to a friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Instead of join every online group, choose community that align with your value and nourish your growth. If we can cultivate awareness, set health boundaries, and prioritize quality over quantity, we can enjoy the benefit of connection without drowning in the noise of overload. And here's the beauty of the framework. It is simple enough to start today and powerful enough to reshape your relationship with technology for a lifetime. While personal strategies are essential, they are not enough. Digital well-being is not just an individual responsibility. Next. It's also a collective responsibility. University, government, and organization have a vital role to play in shaping a healthier digital environment. For educational institution, this could mean integrating digital well-being into curriculum, not as a one-off workshop, but as an ongoing conversation. Second, training faculty for model healthy tech use in their teaching. And the third, providing campus-wide tools and resources for mindful technology habit. For policymakers, it's about creating safeguard. First, supporting digital literacy program nationwide, encouraging transparency from tech company about their algorithm and data usage, setting guidelines for protecting youth from harmful online context. For the tech industry, the challenge is to design for human flourishing, not just engagement metric. This means building features that support focus, rest, and meaningful connection, and being willing to rethinking model that profit from addiction. When institution and individual work together, we can create a culture where technology enhance our humanity instead of eroding it. Because the truth is, no single person can fix this alone. But together, with aligned value and shared commitment, we can shift the digital culture toward well-being. I would like to end here. We began today with a simple image, a cup of coffee growing cold, while the world on a screen pull us away from the moment. We have talked about the science of overload, the emotional paradox of feeling lonely while connected, and the unique vulnerability and potential of students in this digital age. And we have seen that while the challenges are real, the solutions are within reach if we choose to act. So here's my invitation to you. Starting today, take one small step to reclaim your relationship with technology. Maybe it's setting a phone free for hour before bed. Maybe it's reaching out to a friend face to face instead of just liking their post. Maybe it's simply pausing before you tap, scroll, or swipe, and asking yourself, "Is this adding? Is this adding to my life, or is it taking something away?" Remember, digital well-being is not about perfection; it's about progress. Every mindful choice you made send a message to yourself, to your peer, to the culture we are building together. That technology should serve us, not the other way around. And if each of us here and each person watching online commit to making even small change, the ripple effect could be enormous. Let's navigate connection and overload with courage, clarity, and compassion. Because the future of our digital life is not something that just happened to us, it's something we create. Thank you for your attention. I hope everyone will have a good time in this symposium. And thank you. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, Dr. Gum Gum Gumelar, for your inspiring words and for your thought-provoking keynote address. We shall now proceed to the first scientific session of the day, entitled Meaning Making and Resilience Foundation of Flourishing. This session will be delivered by Dr. Nurlaila Effendi, Head of the Indonesian Positive Psychology Association and lecturer at Widya Mandala Catholic University, Surabaya. The session will be convened by Mrs. Gita Irianda Rizkiani, FPsi Psycholog, lecturer at Universitas Negeri Jakarta. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our distinguished speaker and convener.
Okay. Thank you very much, MC. Let me take it over. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone, distinguished guests, esteemed colleague, and all participants joining us today. I would like to welcome you to the Psychology International Symposium 2025 warmly. We are delighted to begin our first session today, and it is an honor to have you with us in this virtual gathering. Allow me to introduce myself briefly. My name is Gita Irianda Rizkiani Medelu. I am currently a lecturer at Faculty of Psychology, Universitas Negeri Jakarta, and I have the privilege of serving as the moderator for this first session. Okay, in this session, we will explore the theme with the title Meaning Making and Resilience, Foundation of Flourishing. We are honored to be joined by our distinguished invited speaker, Dr. Nurlaila Effendi, FPsi, MSE. And then the format will be as follows. So at the first session, Dr. Laila will do the presentation for 45 minutes and then followed by 10 minutes Q&A sessions. So I hope all participants are encouraged to listen attentively, taking notes, and also will asking questions at the Q&A sessions. Okay, before we invited Dr. Laila to speak, I would like to share a brief introduction about her. So Dr. Nurlaila Effendi, FPsi, MSE, is currently the head of Indonesian Positive Psychology Association, or AP2I, or Asosiasi Psikologi Positif Indonesia, and also as a lecturer at Faculty of Psychology at Universitas Katolik Widya Mandala, Surabaya. Her distinguished contributions include the keynote addresses at the 4th Eurasian Conference on Positive Psychology at Turkey 2022, and then the 2nd Psychology and Human Flourishing Conference at 2022, the 1st International Psychology Conference, Positive Organization 2023, and the College of Arts and Humanities International Research Forum in Philippines. She has consistently advanced the fields of well-being and positive psychology through her teaching, research, and international engagement. With that introduction, let us warmly welcome Dr. Nurlaila Effendi, FPsi, MSE. Good morning, Dr. Laila.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good also, thank you. It is very pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you.
So we look forward to hearing your insights. Without further delay, I think we will give the time to you, Dr. Laila.
No
The
problem.
screen is yours.
Okay, thank you for introducing me, Mrs. Gita. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. How is your day? Okay, positive greeting to all. It was my pleasure to share my slide in this conference. I'm happy to have the fun and meet all the organizer, management of Universitas Negeri Jakarta, speaker, friends in attendance. But there is not much time, and I have acquired a lot of slides. So I will start right now. Let me start my slide. Wait a minute. No. I will use my slide. Okay. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay. My topic flourishing in context actually, because resilient also in this topic. It's related to the concept, measurement, and research. Flourishing is the goal of positive psychology, and to get a complete picture of research area, I'm interested in flourishing and meaning. Meaning is one pillar of flourishing. My research is also on this, so my topic is flourishing in context. Resilient include this. Okay, we know the world is constantly changing, which also impact all aspects of human life. The advent of the internet and digitalization has significantly changed the face of the world. Similarly, measuring and countries index based on this, its development goal has undergone significantly changes. Okay, let's see in the slide, take a look at the slide. Initially, the goal of development focused on economic growth with a single indicator, GDP. Then the focus shifts to human development with the SDA indicator around the 1990s, and the goals were deemed insufficient. And in the 2000, the focus shifts to a country's happiness and well-being. Now, what about the subsequent development? Now, there are even higher level initiated by Gallup, which surveyed happiness with Harvard University. The survey has been conducted 22 countries and will further develop. Increasingly, measurements are no longer limited to material measure. Mental health is also a concern for the World Health Organization, WHO. Okay, if we look at this slide provided by the Wellbeing Institute at Cambridge University, we can see in the mental health spectrum, the highest level of mental health is flourishing. While most people are in moderate mental health, this pressure can lead to linguism, which can lead to mental health disorder. How moderate mental health shift the right where flourishing becomes important. Flourishing is the goal of positive psychology, as I told before. Let's think about it. Are we in linguism, moderate mental health, or flourishing? Yes, what is flourishing and what strength in its achievement? One factor, not a dimension, is human strength. Character strength are positive traits. In integral competency, there are hard and soft competency. Trait is one of soft competency to push or to increase hard competency like soft skill, hard skill, and knowledge. Flourishing and well-being are not just individual contexts, they involve a broader context. Okay, so far, okay, this is the slide. Okay, for example, in well-being, this is the same as happiness or flourishing. In well-being in context, there are individuals, interpersonals, family, and communities such as school, communities, and organization or companies. Then there is a society, province, country, and planet well-being. So well-being is not only human, but also the earth and its content, the earth. No, its carving or indicator is different according to the context. Measuring the well-being of a country and an individual is under its difference. In society, size is not equivalent to the individual. Let's see in the next slide. Okay, these are the people behind the scene who work year-round from Gallup to report annual happiness. In Gallup annual happiness survey, a country happiness is measured using 7 indicators. Measurement in society differs from individual happiness, which is measured solely by life satisfaction and effect, positive effect and negative effect. Okay, likewise, the measurement of a country's well-being differs from that of an individual, and the OECD does this. At the time, I heard direct from an OECD at the UCLS conference in Granada, Spain, 5 years ago. This slide presents the OECD well-being measure, which currently encompasses many dimensions. In the future, several additional dimensions will be added. For example, natural capital, economic capital, human capital, social capital. So like in Iceland, which ranked second in well-being in the world last year, in the picture on the far left are the Prime Minister and the Minister of Health, who were giving a presentation at the European Conference on Positive Psychology 3 years ago. They explain how their well-being is high, a focus on OECD measurement. Unfortunately, there are no well-being survey taken in Indonesia, perhaps because they are expensive. Government can't ask the OECD to survey in Indonesia. The one of the far right in the Positive Psychology Center in Iceland, whose research is widely used to support government policy. Its research also span a wide range of areas. Okay, next slide. Similarly, the UAE has a Ministry of Happiness. I gain access to the Ministry of Justice, Judicial Department. This ministry has a happiness unit that focus on the happiness of the department, internal staff, and the community involved. The photos show the word Customer Happiness Center in the Judicial Department. And Britt Greenfield, one of the consultants there, also wrote the book. The book was launched in Iceland in European Conference on Positive Psychology. Okay, next slide. We can see in that university flourishing program led by in collaboration with Gallup conducted the flourishing survey, global flourishing study. They conducted a survey in 22 countries, including Indonesia. Taylor presented at the plenary session at the World Congress on Positive Psychology in Vancouver, Canada, 2 years ago, but the results were published this year. So there are 6 dimensions: general or well-being, health, financial, economic, religiosity, spirituality, relationship, community, and character. And the results have been published this year, 3 months ago, I think, 3 months ago. In this survey, Indonesia is number 1, but still debatable. When listening to Tyler's presentation last month, I had a chance to ask a few questions, one of which was about sampling. In Europe or in modern countries, the gap is high in economic and education. Indonesian distribution is different because Indonesia has more than 7,000 islands with significant knowledge gap and a large economic gap. The difference between Jakarta and big cities in Java compared to other islands is notable, even though they are among the 6 largest islands in Indonesia. For example, compared to Halmahera entity in Eastern Indonesia, the difference is huge. For instance, in Halmahera, specifically North Halmahera, power outages occur more than 5 times a day, and the internet is often unavailable. In the internet is often unavailable to support daily activity in school or also in business operation. So we talk about well-being and flourishing. What is different between being and flourishing? Flourishing is the highest level of well-being, because if someone experience well-being, they will be good in all aspects of well-being. If they are flourishing, all aspects of flourishing are good, and where they live will also be well carried, because there is meaning in flourishing, which means it is beneficial not only for themselves, but for something greater than themselves. Tim Lomas conveyed this from Harvard University in World Congress on Positive Psychology 2 years ago. Harvard is also conducting Islamic well-being, still ongoing study. Research led by Tim Lomas. I was contacted to be interviewed by Tim Lomas' team, Taya Praset, a resilient researcher and the founder of Positive Psychotherapy with Martin Seligman. Okay, we continue to the community context. There are communities in urban, suburban, and rural areas to cover a range of topics. We can use many topics. An example of a community based on positive psychology, Indonesian happy living, which focus on the happiness of those over 50 years or approaching 50. There is also one focus on happiness of women, happy women community. It is communities. How about positive education? Yes, positive education school use different measures. This picture is one of Geelong Grammar School in Australia, a program developed by Seligman, whom he also consulted. In Indonesia, others have adapted, seen the website for Tritunggal School in Semarang, as well as in Surabaya in Jakarta. The Ciputra group uses consultants from Finlandia to apply positive education. There are also other concepts from other countries. And here's a book on positive education published by the Indonesian Positive Psychology Association. You can buy it. Okay, it is promotion. Okay, and the new concept in positive education is the whole being model. The latest develop of whole being models, which includes well-being, ill-being, resilience, and relationship and culture, was developed by Aaron Jordan and his team at Melbourne University. Okay, in the organization, please take a look at this slide. A positive organization is both the individual and the company organization. Conversely, a negative environment can be seen in the negative continuum. The individual tends to be ill both physically and psychologically, and the company is experiencing a declining profit, inefficiencies, and other issues. Different in the normal continuum, the company's target usually fall in within this continuum. At the individual level, it tends to be both psychologically and physically healthy. Okay, consequently, the health claims are low, absenteeism is minimal, and psychological well-being is better. There is also rare occurrence of conflict or stress. However, if the positive organization, it enters the positive continuum. The organization is flourishing. The people predominantly have high vitality, high energy, and flow psychologically. Focus, productivity, and enjoyment. So the leader has a strategy to develop a positive organization. How to develop positive organization? The strategy for developing a positive organization is to cultivate positive relationship. Positive relationship is not just about good relationship, beyond a good relationship, but also about high quality connection. Barbara Fredrickson spoke at the Congress 2 months ago about her extensive research on positive emotion and social interaction, specifically the 4 levels conducive condition to foster based on positive emotion, love. Okay. These are also other pillars, positive climate and positive meaning. Positive meaning is very important. Positive meaning relate to the goals and values of organization and individual within the organization, including work orientation. There are 3 levels of work orientation: job orientation work, career orientation work, and calling orientation work, and much discussion on the meaning. Furthermore, there is a positive communication, not just a good communication, but integrative and constructive communication. Cameron from US developed this strategy for leader at the World Congress on Positive Psychology in Brisbane last month. I also met Cameron and met the meaning expert Mike Sticker and Peninit Russo also. Okay, we enter into interpersonal context. In interpersonal context, there is a concept of family well-being, which encompasses aspects different from those an individual. How about in individual? For example, about happiness, the happiness formula developed by Sonia Lomborski is similar to concept proposed by Seligman. This concept is not an exact values, but simply a way to simplify the construction of happiness. A person happiness is determined by a combination of three factors. Most are permanent. Okay, the environment influence a small proportion, and most can be changed through action and mindset. The happiness formula is high, stand for your enduring level of happiness. S in your genetic happiness set range or set point, and constitute 50%. C is the circumstances in your life, which constitute 10%. V represent factor under your voluntary control, making up 40%. So don't let the 10% override the 40% and 50%.
Ya,
Happiness is
apa itu?
our responsibility.
Iya.
Happiness is our responsibility, not someone else. So we must build in from within ourselves rather than relying on external factor, environment, even other people, because life isn't about event, but about how we react to them. Okay, next slide. This is from Ryan and Deji. It can also be seen that well-being encompasses subjective well-being or happiness, which refer to being in a hedonic state, and psychological well-being as definitely as defined in the economy within the well-being concept of Ryan Deji. Okay, in next slide, we can measure flourishing in individuals. There are four concepts from Case, Hubbard, and so. I'm sorry, Felicia Hubbard recently passed away months ago. Then Seligman and at dinner, it's which has its own measuring tools. Okay. Maybe the popular one is Seligman flourishing. Method is PERMA. I think everyone know PERMA, and its measuring tools is the PERMA profiler. Okay, I once researched flourishing using a PERMA profiler between the millennial generation in Jakarta and Istanbul, Turkey, with 10% and 28% respectively. Yes, although 28% is still not considered high. In New Zealand, measurements were taken from 1,009 adults using 4 measuring tools. The PERMA profiler results showed 47%, significantly higher than in Indonesia. Okay, next I surveyed in 10 provinces, but this report in based on 7 provinces with 1,517 people. Additionally, the result remain in the moderate category too. Okay, the greatness of being, I love it. Humans are actually composed of physically, which we can see with the naked eyes, such as the eyes, skin, hand, and so on. And psychologically, physiological or biological, such as cardiovascular system, respiratory system, digestive system, and then mind, which consists of cognitive, imaginative, emotion, and consciousness, and then soul and spirit. Integral psychology has created a program for individual to achieve flourishing and harmony with themselves and others and thrives. It's called the integral life practice metric. It begins with our life mission, then become our purpose in life or meaning, and it's applied more operationally. So it's make us to not just resilience, but more than resilient, anti-fragility. The highest resilience is anti-fragility. Okay, there are in the life practice metric has two models, the core models and the auxiliary models. The core models includes practice. This is just an example for the physical, mind, spirit, and shadow domain, which are necessary therapies. And the auxiliary models include practice tailored to the need of ethics, love, romance, work, emotion, and relationship. This program makes it integrative, aligned with the human structure. Beside practical application, there are also development in research worldwide. Okay, how about wave in positive psychology? EPPA, or International Positive Psychology Association, has 7 divisions. You can join it if you want to know the trend of information, what happened in the world, research and application. Global research in positive psychology has entered its 4th wave, actually. The first wave still focus on being. The second wave focus on interbeing and the integration of positive and negative emotion. Okay. The third wave focus on cross-cultural issues, big data, and so on. And in the fourth wave, it was broader, including beyond human. My research involved more than 1,500 people in 7 provinces. It is still in first wave. So, even though we are active in positive psychology research, we need to note about this. Which wave in Indonesia currently in? Many are still in wave 1. A few are in wave 2, and even fewer are in wave 3. Yes, I told you my research involved more than 1,000 still in first wave. So even though we are inactive in positive psychology research and the subject of positive psychology is taught at more than 57 universities, we still need to improve in terms of research. Okay, it is our homework. So I have finished my presentation. I hope we learn something together. And thank you. I will return to moderator, Mrs. Kita. But may I say something? May I say something?
Sure,
For
sure,
closing my statement.
sure.
Yeah, okay. It is for Abraham Maslow. Growth must be chosen again and again. Fear must be overcome again and again. But life is a journey to experience, to grow, not a problem to be solved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Laila. It is a very engaging and inspiring presentation, especially for the last part that you quoted from Abraham Maslow itself. So from what I gathered, today's talk remind us about the flourishing is a very multi-layered. So it's not just about ourselves. It's also about families, communities, culture, and it means that every level we can do the nurture, resilience, and the meaning. Thank you very much, Dr. Leila. Okay, so we move on to the next session. We will now open the Q&A session. Participants, you may type your questions at the chat box, or you can use the raise hand features, and you can discuss interactively with our speakers. So for
I
all
heard
of you who wants,
participant from Indonesia. I heard participant from
yes.
Indonesia. You can ask me in Indonesian language.
Oh,
If
okay, all right. Okay, there's a very
silakan.
nice.
Ya, partisipasinya ternyata dari Indonesia
Okay.
semua.
Okay, silakan, please, if you have any questions. Is there anyone who wants to ask questions, or should I ask question first, maybe? From me?
Question.
Oh, okay. Who is
Mrs.
there?
Tita can ask me.
Good morning,
Okay.
Ibu
Oh, yeah,
Laila.
okay.
Ya, selamat
Thank
pagi.
you so much for your time. It is such a great and honor to talk to you, and thank you for your knowledge and experience and everything that you have been shared to us. Thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
have a question about the flourishing and well-being. So I could take the conclusion about best things that the difference between flourishing and well-being, those are where well-being is about one individual. Is it right? We focus on ourselves.
Ya, bagus di semua aspeknya well-being. Itu
Yes.
cukup gitu ya.
Yes, and the flourishing is about we spread the what is it we call we spread the love and we spread the like this with which is it's about communities. So if we talk about flourishing, my question is there are so many communities, right, Ibu Laila? Like the family and school and the government, we call it communities, right? So which communities that have to start the first to make the move about well-being and flourishing at the end? So the others can follow these first communities that already make the first move and spread the awareness about well-being and flourishing. So which communities? Is it the family or the school or the teachers or what? Because as we talk about idealism, it's hard to like we walk together at the same time. So which communities have to make the first move so the others can follow? Thank you so much and see you again, Ibu Laila. Thank you, Ibu Gita.
Oke, thank you. Siapa tadi namanya?
Inayah Susanto.
Inayah.
Yes.
Thank you for the question. Nice question and great question. Oke, jadi teman-teman, flourishing memang harus dimulai dari kita dulu gitu ya. Karena kalau begini, kalau kita nantinya kita jadi agen perubahan di sekitar kita kan. Kalau flourishing, jadi kalau kita mengembangkan positive emotion, positive relationship, kemudian positive meaning dan achievement gitu ya, accomplishment, itu otomatis akan membawa orang-orang di sekitar kita ketarik dengan diri kita. Nah, sekarang tergantung kitanya gitu. Apakah kita akan jadi agen perubahan di level kecil, di keluarga misalnya, itu bagus aja. Karena keluarga juga akan narik nanti, misalnya adik kita, kakak kita, orang tua kita, di sekitar kita juga gitu ya. Tapi memang dimulai dari individunya dulu, karena dia akan menarik gitu. Tetapi yang lebih menguntungkan kalau itu di suatu perusahaan sebetulnya. Kalau leadernya paham. Karena kalau leader paham tentang positif organisasi, dia akan memiliki positive meaning, dia punya vision setting, bagaimana dia share value organisasinya, kemudian dia mengembangkan dirinya dan mengembangkan orang lain, dan dia membangun sistem-sistem di organisasi. Jadi kalau di perusahaan, jadi itu kenapa waktu sebelum COVID, Asosiasi Positif Psikologi itu concern dengan organisasi. Jadi kita bekerja sama dengan majalah bisnis SWA supaya impact-nya besar, majalah bisnis SWA, untuk kita membuat award positive organization. Jadi yang ikut itu banyak perusahaan-perusahaan besar. Memang banyak juga yang gugur di perjalanan gitu ya, mengikuti kriteria proses itu. Nomor satu waktu itu yang revenue-nya di atas 5 triliun itu nomor satu yang 4 aspek tadi. Jadi positive relationship, positive meaning, climate, dan uh, apa namanya, positive communication, itu BCA. Jadi 4 aspeknya, walaupun nggak tinggi-tinggi semua gitu ya, bukan yang tinggi semua, tetapi 4 aspeknya tuh mereka lakukan. Begitu. Kami juga mendengarkan presentasi dari manajemen, apa yang mereka lakukan program-programnya, sehingga membentuk culture itu. Nah, yang di bawah 5 triliun revenue-nya, itu saya lupa, Nutrifood. Nutrifood. Nah, itu impact-nya jadi besar. Karena kalau satu perusahaan ada katakanlah 2.000 karyawan, ketika mereka membawa kebijakan pada organisasi, itu akan mempengaruhi makro organisasinya, mesonya, tim-timnya, dan mikronya, individu yang bekerja di dalam situ. Gitu ya. Jadi impact-nya akan besar sekali. Memang individu akan kecil impact-nya, tapi bisa dimulai dari situ. Nah, kalau di perusahaan berarti individunya leadernya, begitu kan? Sehingga mengambil kebijakan-kebijakan di sana. Impact-nya akan besar. Nah, bagaimana kalau kita levelnya di bawah gitu ya? Levelnya di bawah. Kita bisa mengusulkan beberapa program sebetulnya. Dengan latar belakang, kemudian budgetnya berapa, timeline-nya seperti apa gitu ya. Kita bisa mengajukan, mengusulkan. Memang mengambil keputusan atasan gitu ya. Kalau sulit, kita bisa manggil orang untuk memberikan apa namanya, pandangan di situ gitu. Jadi kembali lagi, jadi untuk mengembangkan flourishing itu memang harus banyak gitu. Kita bisa, kalau kita di institusi, kita lewat institusi. Kalau di sekolah, kita bisa berbicara dengan orang-orang di sekolah itu gitu ya. Jadi otomatis yang dimulai dari diri kita gitu. Sehingga kalau kita ada di institusi, kita bisa memberikan masukan. Kalau kita berhubungan dengan sekolah, misalnya anak sekolah kita di suatu sekolah, kita bisa memberikan informasi ke sana gitu. Jadi memang dimulai dari diri kita sehingga kita bisa menarik lingkungan-lingkungan kita, apakah di institusi. Termasuk saya itu kan sebetulnya jadi dosen karena ditarik universitas mendirikan S2. Jadi saya itu lama sebagai praktisi 15 tahun dan sebagai konsultan corporate culture dan performance management system itu lebih dari 20 tahun ya. Nah, waktu itu saya ketika masuk di universitas juga saya berpikir apa yang bisa dikembangkan di sini gitu. Jadi saya menarik divisi saya dulu gitu. Divisinya kan PIO gitu ya, menarik PIO untuk masuk ke positive organization, tapi tim PIO. Habis itu berkembang 2 tahun kemudian berkembang ke fakultas. Jadi sekarang juga di universitas juga, sorry, di fakultas itu scientific vision-nya udah positive psychology. Jadi sejak tahun 2015. Jadi memang dari kita untuk narik di sekitar-sekitar kita. 2 tahun kemudian, jadi setelah 2015 kita mengadakan nasional nasional temu ilmiah positif psikologi yang pertama dari universitas. Kemudian 2 tahun kemudian mendirikan bersama teman-teman Asosiasi Positif Psikologi Indonesia supaya berkembangnya cepat. Itu kan sebenarnya dimulai dari diri sendiri awalnya. Jadi itu cepat sehingga terakhir itu lebih dari 57 universitas kok, 59 atau 61 begitu, yang sudah mengajarkan positif psikologi. Itu berkembangnya pesat gitu. Jadi dimulai dengan diri sendiri yang terkecil, membesar, membesar, membesar. Termasuk yang Indonesia Happy Living, itu namanya Septi yang pendirinya, salah satu pendirinya, dia yang mendirikan ibu profesional yang konsepnya adalah positif psikologi. Itu membernya lebih dari 15.000 seluruh dunia. Dan dia ada tinggal di mana? Di kota kecil di Salatiga. Dia bisa mengendalikan gitu ya. Dan Facebook itu mengundang dia. Jadi kalau tahu community di Facebook, program community di Facebook, itu dia dipanggil oleh Facebook, diajak ke lab-nya Facebook bagaimana membuat program itu, karena dia bisa mengembangkan community itu. Dimulai dari dirinya itu waktu itu. Dan itu di kota kecil Salatiga, gitu ya. Jadi dari lokal to global gitu. Jadi kita bisa, tapi memang dimulai dari diri kita. Begitu ya Inaya, pertanyaan yang keren gitu ya. Karena ini bisa nyambung, jadi semakin banyak nanti agen perubahan untuk bagaimana Indonesia menjadi flourishing-nya meningkat gitu. Karena target dunia itu sebetulnya tahun 2035 itu sebetulnya 51% di dunia. Tapi terus kan COVID gitu ya. Jadi mungkin direduce juga targetnya begitu. Oke, thank you Inaya.
Thank you so much, Ibu Laila. Thank you, Ibu Gita.
Yeah,
Very
thank you
sharing.
very much. Okay, next, is there anyone who wants still asking question interactively, or should I move on to the chat meeting?
Oke.
Okay, I saw someone raising their hands again. Okay, Mr. Sedo, yeah, you can ask questions right away. Either
Okay,
English or
good
Indonesia.
morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, Miss Dok. Morning, Dok. I have question about good organizational strategies. So we are talking about good organizational strategies. Is time bound atau apa bahasanya rasa urgensi ya, rasa urgensi atau batas waktu itu include with the good organizational strategies gitu. Apakah itu termasuk rasa urgensi atau tenggat waktu di strategi itu?
I didn't get the point. Maybe you can explain.
Tadi kita kan bahas masalah good organizational strategies, Dok.
Oh, positive organization, ya.
Positive organization. Nah, apakah rasa urgensi itu masuk ke dalam positive organizational? Karena di kita itu biasanya kalau ada sesuatu yang urgensi, dibilang urgent, pasti menjadi sesuatu yang lebih positif gitu loh. Pasti dikerjakan biasanya. Itu kalau di perusahaan ya biasanya, Dok.
Oh, kalau misalnya kena deadline gitu ya, itu pasti
Iya,
langsung
betul.
dikerjakan gitu ya.
Iya.
Oh, oke. Iya,
Apakah itu jadi hal yang positif atau bagaimana, Dok?
ya. Kalau itu cuman sekali dua kali sih masih oke gitu ya. Karena kan masih masuknya di stres kalau ngalami stres gitu. Sorry, you stress gitu ya. Tapi kalau itu sering, itu nanti kita jadinya workaholic. Jadi kalau workaholic itu posisinya kalau di eh, apa emotion kompleks itu ada 4 kuadran. Jadi kuadran positif dan kuadran negatif. Kalau workaholic itu kuadran negatif yang apa? Energinya tinggi. Nah, nanti cepat lelah tuh. Kalau di posisi seperti itu. Deadline, deadline, deadline gitu kan. Habis energi kita gitu. Nah, berbeda dengan positif, misalnya gini, emosi negatif bukan jelek ya. Emosi negatif dan emosi positif sama-sama bagus, cuman fungsinya berbeda. Jadi begini, emosi negatif itu fungsinya untuk problem solving yang bersifat segera. Jadi misalnya kalau organisasi ini udah mau decline nih gitu. Kita nggak bisa pakai positif gitu. Organisasinya decline, kita nggak bisa pakai positif, harus pakai emosi negatif takut. Emosi negatif supaya apa? Terhindar dari decline itu gitu organisasinya. Seperti kita waktu COVID, kita harus takut dulu kan, supaya kita menghindar, kita jaga jarak, cuci tangan gitu ya, pakai masker. Nah, begitu pula organisasi. Kalau dia di situasi negatif, jangan pakai positif. Oh, santai aja, nanti kan balik lagi. Nggak bisa. Nanti toxic positivity itu nanti gitu ya. Nah, oleh karena itu gunakan emosi negatif ketika posisinya krisis. Takut. Supaya apa? Menghindar. Nah, tapi jangan dibawa terus. Karena begini, ketika kita pakai emosi negatif, jadi misalnya tadi tekanan-tekanan gitu ya, emosi negatif, fokus kita pada tekanan itu. Sehingga kenapa kita bisa ngerjakan. Tapi kalau kita kehidupan kita normal, kehidupan sorry, kehidupan kita normal, jangan menggunakan emosi negatif. Kalau misalnya ketemu ular gitu ya, kita harus menggunakan emosi negatif. Jangan gunakan emosi positif. Oh, kulitnya bagus bisa dibuat tas, tapi pakai emosi negatif. Tapi kita kan nggak bisa mikir yang lain ketika ketemu si ular itu. Kita nggak bisa mikir, oh kerjaan belum selesai, ada deadline, nggak sempat kepikir. Karena menyempitkan atensi kita. Jadi emosi negatif itu menyempitkan atensi kita. Nah, berbalik dengan positive emotion itu membuat atensi kita melebar. Jadi memang fungsinya emosi positif itu untuk growth and development. Jadi kalau sekali-sekali kita pakai emosi negatif yang tekanan tadi, kita akan fokus jadi bisa selesai gitu kan. Karena kita fokus, kita nggak bisa mikir yang lain, makanya cepat selesai. Tapi kalau itu kita gunakan terus-menerus, energi kita habis gitu. Kalaupun kita tekan terus, kita jadi orang workaholic yang emosi negatif dan energinya adalah tinggi. Misalnya jadi lebih mudah untuk marah dan lain sebagainya, begitu. Karena tension gitu ya. Jadi memang kapan menggunakan emosi negatif, kapan menggunakan emosi positif. Kalau pekerjaan yang urgent, ada baiknya sih sebetulnya. Memang kalau urgent itu kan orang jadi fokus, jadi bisa selesai begitu ya. Tapi itu tidak sehat sebetulnya. Jadi kita bisa pindah sebetulnya, masuk yang tidak urgent, tapi penting. Kan itu urgent and penting, gitu kan? Nah, dirubah tuh. Masuknya urgent, tidak urgent, tapi penting. Jadi kalau deadline-nya tanggal 5, dimajukan secara personal tanggal 2. Jadi itu penting, tapi tidak urgent. Supaya kita emosi positifnya lebih dominan, gitu. Jadi kita sendiri membuat target, tetapi itu target kita diajukan gitu. Supaya kita tidak benar-benar masuk deadline yang exactly dari institusi gitu. Gitu. Jadi supaya membuat kita tetap nyaman gitu. Contohnya saya dimintain slide UNJ waktu itu gitu ya. Itu saya kirim udah berapa hari yang lalu. Yang minggu depan juga ada international conference juga. Saya udah kirim tadi malam. Jadi saya punya deadline sendiri gitu. Jadi ya begini, kalau kita pakai emosi positif sebenarnya itu untuk growth and development gitu. Cuman caranya begini. Nah, jeleknya beritanya, emosi negatif itu kekuatannya 3 kali lipat daripada emosi positif. Kekuatannya. Contoh, kita kita kesel, kita benci, kita sakit hati. Mungkin kita akan bertahan itu 1 bulan, 2 bulan, 3 tahun, mungkin seumur hidup. Tapi emosi positif, misalnya kita berlibur ke Bali atau Singapura gitu ya, paling bertahan cuma 1 minggu, 2 minggu maksimal. Oleh karena itu, perlu banyak-banyak bangun emosi positif agar ketika mengalami tekanan itu baliknya lebih cepat. Karena ingat, fungsi emosi positif untuk growth and development. Begitu. Kalau sekali-sekali nggak apa-apa, tapi jangan sering kali. Nanti energinya habis, itu yang pertama. Kedua, ketika deadline memang kita bisa fokus, tapi kita nggak tahu terjadi eksternal apa. Lampu mati, internet mati, keluarga ada yang sakit, nggak minta ya. Tapi bisa terjadi seperti itu. Sehingga lebih baik itu diajukan, sehingga masuknya tidak urgent tapi penting. Begitu. Jadi dirubah gitu ya. Sehingga kita enjoy terus gitu. Kita enjoy terus. Secara secara dominan ya, kadang-kadang kan yang nggak enjoy. Tapi secara dominan kita jadi enjoy dengan kerjaan yang menumpuk. Dan semua sebetulnya deadline-deadline gitu. Tapi kita kan udah mengajukan semua. Begitu. Begitu mungkin Mas Sedo,
Eh,
ada
jadi
yang mau
emosi
ditambahkan
negatif,
pertanyaannya silahkan.
emosi negatif menghasilkan hal yang positif ya Bu.
Gimana?
Jadi emosi negatif menghasilkan hal yang positif Bu ya.
Nah, tergantung ini fungsinya, kapan digunakan, karena nggak bisa digunakan terus. Karena kalau digunakan terus, kita akan terfokus pada apa di emosi negatif itu. Misalnya takut ular tadi. Kalau kita jadi trauma kan kita nggak bisa ngerjain apa-apa. Dibawa terus. Oleh karena itu jangan dibawa. Takut itu hanya digunakan fungsinya ketika kita memang perlu problem solving yang survive segera. Misalnya organisasi yang dalam kondisi eh, profitnya turun atau mungkin decline gitu ya organisasinya. Itu kita sementara pakai emosi negatif dulu. Takut supaya kita menghindar. Kita mikir harus diapain nih, harus diapain nih. Fokus ke situ. Tapi ketika kita sudah tahu mau mau berubah, kita pakai emosi positif karena untuk growth and development. Begitu. Begitu, Mas Seda.
Thank you Dok. Terima kasih Dok.
Sama-sama.
Okay, thank you very much, Mas Edo. Interesting point, Bu. As a worker, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let me continue from the chat room maybe. This is from Penny Handayani, presenter 2. Would you like to open your camera, maybe asking directly, or I just read your questions? Mbak Penny atau Ibu Penny?
Ya, izin untuk diwakilkan via HP saja Ibu karena sedang mengajar paralel.
Oh, baik. Terima kasih. Let me read it. It's in Indonesia. Izin bertanya. Ada pertanyaan Ibu dari Penny Andayani. Dengan situasi Indonesia yang sedang tidak baik-baik saja belakangan ini, bagaimana cara menjaga personal well-being sedangkan dengan pendekatan psikologi positif pada level komunitas? Karena pada saat ini Indonesia sedang mudah tergerak karena negatif pada level komunitas. Terima kasih atas insight-nya, Ibu.
Iya. Mungkin ini time untuk kita untuk mengaplikasikan yang namanya positivity gitu ya. Jadi misalnya begini, saya contohkan kalau kita punya anak kecil, waktunya sudah mepet mau sekolah, dia mau terlambat, tetapi dia lagi mencoba untuk pakai kaos kaki. Kita kan biasanya marah ya, ayo cepet-cepet ini udah mau terlambat gitu. Nah anaknya juga kesel, kita juga kesel, mood kita juga jadi jelek tuh di perjalanan. Gitu. Nah, coba kita pakai positivity. Karena begini, emosi itu sebetulnya nggak dikotomi begitu kan. Jadi kayak tadi kita marah terhadap anak, sebetulnya itu kalau kita balik ada care and love loh. Care and love terhadap anak itu gitu. Sama kita sedih dengan Indonesia, itu emosi negatif. Mungkin kita marah dengan Indonesia, itu mungkin emosi negatif. Tetapi di balik emosi negatif kita, itu ada care and love kita pada Indonesia. Benar nggak? Karena kalau terjadi misalnya di Nigeria, seperti di Indonesia, kita kan mungkin nggak engage dengan sana gitu ya. Tapi karena kita ada care and love dengan Indonesia loh. Kita jadi kayak marah, kesel. Nah coba dibalik nih. Marah kesel kita, karena di belakang ini ada care and love. Apa yang kita bisa kerjakan untuk menyumbang Indonesia? Walaupun kontribusi kita kecil. Gitu. Jadi kita balik gitu ya. Jadi kita pakai positivity itu kita putar supaya care dan love kita yang berkembang. Dimulai dari diri kita, kemudian ke community kita gitu. Apa yang kita bisa lakukan gitu. Kalau kita bisa lakukan misalnya, oh sharing deh free kepada komunitas ibu-ibu atau misalnya anak sekolah, ya kita lakukan gitu. Supaya emosi positif ini menyebar, supaya growth and development Indonesianya gitu. Jadi supaya tidak terpuruk, semakin terpuruk gitu. Karena kalau kita punya, sekarang Indonesia tidak baik-baik aja, terus kita sedih, itu malah bagus sebetulnya. Karena sebenarnya di belakang itu ada care and love. Itu yang kita ubah. Action kita apa tuh untuk care dan love kita terhadap Indonesia gitu. Begitu mungkin Ibu Penny ya tadi ya, Ibu Penny.
Ya.
Gitu.
Baik.
Apa nih yang kita bisa lakukan gitu. Kecil-kecil tapi itu terus gitu ya. Jadi kayak apa namanya? Kayak kalau kita melempar batu di kolam gitu kan, memang kecil tapi terus menyebar tuh terus. Karena kita jadi energizer, bukan de-energizer. Kalau kita negatif, kita jadi de-energizer, ngabisin energi yang lain-lain juga. Oleh karena itu kita rubah, kita jadi energizer. Jadi energizer network gitu ya. Jadi kita mulai dari kita membangun. Karena kita tahu tuh ada yang namanya positive psychology untuk mengembangkan organisasi, komunitas, dan lain sebagainya. Begitu kita jadi ubah. Jadi kan emosi tidak dikotomi. Jadi kita putar gitu. Karena love kita kepada Indonesia, apa yang bisa kita lakukan. Begitu.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Laila. It's like our title, meaning making.
Yeah.
That's explained. Okay, we move on to the next question. This has come from Pak Habib Aditya. Do you wish to do interactively or should I read only your questions? Pak Habib? Okay. I think I will just read the questions then. Okay, thanks. Thank you, Ms. Laila, for the insight gathering from your speech and presentation. I'm interested with your previous slide showed us well-being influenced by one of them is income. My question is, as well, we all know that our country chaos caused by the increasing salary. Meanwhile, as we know, the unrest issue in Indonesia related to parliamentary salary increase, which is considered excessively high compared to the average employee. Survey showed that parliamentary salaries are 32 to 35 times higher. Talking about flourishing, what do you think about well-being and the parliament members compared to the well-being of their employees? On another slide, it is also stated that flourishing level of the people of Indonesia is categorized as high. That's the questions.
Nah, itu sebetulnya ya kita memang sedih semua dengan DPR gitu ya. Cuman memang begini, yang terlihat memang banyaknya adalah DPR yang tidak bagus. Karena media itu senang memberitakan hal-hal yang tidak bagus, karena orang senang atensi itu. Contoh ya. Saya tadinya juga tidak suka gitu ya awalnya. Sehingga itu saya cari semua informasi gitu. Jadi ketika apa namanya perampasan aset terhadap koruptor itu kan partai tidak setuju, terutama partai besar PDI. Kenapa dia nggak setuju gitu? Saya mendapatkan informasi yang saya dengar sendiri dari Pak Mahfud MD gitu ya. Ternyata beliau tanya ke Bu Mega, kenapa kok nggak di ACC terus? Terus kemudian Bu Mega jawabnya, kalau ini di ACC jadi problem. Karena akan digunakan, karena kejaksaan kita belum bagus. Polisi kita belum bagus. Ini akan akan digunakan ke lebih luas, bukan ke koruptor saja. Karena kan ini apa namanya undang-undang ini kan besar gitu ya. Nah, itu akan jadi buruk memang. Nah, untung kita kepala kejaksaan kita sekarang bagus ya. Bagus sekali berani mengangkat gitu ya. Reza Khalid dan lain sebagainya. Jadi ini sekarang mulai ditata gitu. Jadi sebetulnya kalau kita lihat DPR memang itu menyedihkan gitu ya. Karena yang terekspos itu gitu ya. Yang terekspos itu. Karena memang berita lebih senang memberitakan hal-hal seperti itu gitu. Nah, tapi kita juga sedih karena pajak DPR itu yang bayar ke negara, sedang kita sebagai karyawan bayar pajak gitu ya. Tapi sekarang itu kita pada level yang nggak bisa ngubah kebijakan gitu ya. Apa yang bisa kita lakukan? Gitu. Misalnya kita menulis di Kompas atau di Tempo misalnya ya. Itu salah satu kita membangun awareness kepada pejabat, kepada pengambil keputusan, karena kita posisi di bawah gitu ya. Nah, oleh karena itu yang perlu kita bangun sekarang adalah gini, tadi saya sampaikan tentang orientasi kerja. Jadi orientasi kerja itu ada job orientation work, itu fokusnya pada materi. Kita mikirin karir kita dan lain sebagainya, tapi fokus kita pada materi. Yang di level kedua, career orientation work, itu fokus kita berkembang dengan kita tinggal ikut berkembang. Jadi misalnya kita di perusahaan atau kita di organisasi, kita berkembang dengan organisasi yang ikut berkembang kan? Kalau career orientation. Jadi sama-sama berkembang begitu. Nah, kalau di career orientation sebetulnya yang menjadi fokus di job orientation itu ke bawah sebetulnya. Dapat gitu. Jadi kalau kita dipromosikan otomatis materi juga ikut naik gitu. Tapi orang kebanyakan di Indonesia masuknya adalah job orientation work. Gitu. Itu orientasinya. Nah, sebetulnya ada yang lebih tinggi namanya calling orientation work. Calling orientation, kalau yang dua tadi fokusnya masih pada diri kita. Kalau calling orientation work itu fokusnya lebih besar pada diri kita, bagaimana kebermanakan apa yang kita kerjakan kepada yang lebih besar lagi. Nah, orang yang calling orientation work itu justru jarang stres. Kenapa? Ketika misalnya terjadi seperti di Indonesia seperti ini, apa ya yang bisa saya lakukan ya? Gitu. Apa ya, oh saya akan menyuarakan, misalnya kenal ada yang DPR ya, ikut apapun yang kita bisa lakukan untuk lebih besar daripada dirinya. Berbeda yang job orientation work, dia tambah kesel lagi gitu, ngelihat DPR salarinya begitu tinggi, apalagi kemarin ditambah 3 juta per hari gitu ya, itu tambah kesel sekali gitu. Kalau kita masuknya adalah di job orientation work. Karena akan membandingkan dengan diri kita yang sama-sama kerja mungkin 24 jam atau 12 jam gitu ya. Tapi kita seperti itu. Nah, kenapa orang yang job orientation work itulah mudah stres, mudah mengalami tekanan dibanding yang career orientation work. Misalnya, waktu COVID, yang job orientation work ketika nggak dapat bonus, dia motivasinya kan turun. Karena nggak dapat bonus. Tetapi yang career orientation work, dia berpikir, oke, nggak ada bonus, tapi banyak kok webinar free, nanti itu justru meningkatkan kompetensi saya. Jadi nggak mudah stres. Apalagi yang calling orientation work. Karena banyak yang bisa dipikir, oh apa ya yang bisa saya lakukan, begitu. Nah, mungkin untuk diri kita start dari situ. Jadi orientation work kita ubah lebih naik aja supaya kita nggak mengalami tekanan. Sehingga kalau kita lebih naik, kita bisa berpikir apa yang bisa kita lakukan dengan kondisi DPR seperti itu. Misalnya, kita memberikan sosialisasi ke mahasiswa, kita memberikan misalnya terkait integritas gitu ya. Saya contoh tuh sering tuh saya bilang mahasiswa, kesel nggak orang korupsi? Kesel. Marah nggak? Marah. Terus saya tanya, berapa yang di sini pernah damai di tempat dengan polisi? Ada kan yang angkat tangan. Itu sama aja mensupport korupsi, saya bilang begitu. Ya Bu, tapi kan kecil. Ya kalian areanya masih kecil, coba areanya besar gitu kan. Punya wewenang besar. Kemungkinan korupsinya kan juga jadi besar. Nah, itu sebenarnya dimulai dari diri kita gitu. Nah, oleh karena itu orientasi kerja kita mungkin kita perlu ubah, kita perlu naikkan supaya apa yang bisa kita kontribusikan kepada negara itu. Kesel, kesel gitu ya. Tapi kita nggak diem gitu. Apa sih yang bisa kita lakukan? Mungkin untuk generasi muda, mungkin untuk kenalan kita yang ada di pemerintahan, mungkin kesiapan nulis di apa namanya? Nulis di ini di Tempo, nulis di mana gitu. Nah, itu kita bisa lakukan. Karena saya bukan di politik, jadi saya nulisnya di majalah bisniswa biasanya supaya memberikan kontribusi kepada perusahaan-perusahaan gitu. Jadi memang kesel-kesel, tapi apa ya yang kita bisa gerakkan gitu ya. Jadi agen perubahan. Kembali lagi ke situ, Mbak kita gitu. Jadi apa orientasi kerjanya, jadi orientation work-nya kita tuh kita tingkatkan supaya kita nggak mudah kesel sehingga kita bisa berkarya lebih banyak lagi malahan sebetulnya gitu. Itu mungkin.
Thank you very much, Dr. Laila. There are any questions, Happy Paditya? I think it will answer your questions. Okay, unfortunately, our time is running out right now. So for those who haven't got that answer for the questions, you maybe could contact Dr. Laila maybe for further inquiry in that. So thank you once again, Dr. Laila, for your enriching presentation and discussion. And thank you to all participants for your thoughtful engagement. This session has given us many meaningful insight into how meaning making and resilience from the foundations of flourishing. But before we close, it is my honor to, on behalf of the organizing committee, to present virtual certificate to you, Dr. Laila, in the recognition of your valuable contribution to this symposium. Okay, so this is the certification of appreciation. I hope you can get this. Although this is online, but this is our appreciation to you. Although we are meeting online, please join me in giving her a warm round of virtual applause. Thank you so much, Dr. Laila. It is very insightful.
Thank you.
Okay. So with this, we officially conclude the first session of the Psychology International Symposium 2025. Thank you so much, Dr. Laila, and thank you all for participants for your presence and engagement. We kindly invite you to stay connected as we continue to the next session of our program shortly. Good morning, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nurlaila Effendi, for that enlightening point and presentation. And thank you as well to Mrs. Gita Irianda Rizkiani, FPsi Psycholog, for convening these sessions. Next, our second session will be presented by Associate Professor Dr. Mohsen Joshanlo from Keimyung University, South Korea, an honorary principal fellow at the University of Melbourne. He will be speaking on explaining cultural variation in well-being, an integrative framework. This session will be convened by Mr. Herdian Maulana, PhD, Vice Dean for Research, Innovation, and Partnership at the Faculty of Psychology, Universitas Negeri Jakarta. Please extend your warmest welcome to our esteemed speaker.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Arindra, for the MC. So now we move to the second session of our speakers. So I would like to kindly invite Dr. Mohsen to our session now. Is Dr. Mohsen already present here? Okay, just want to make sure that Dr. Mohsen is already here. Can MC or the committee confirm whether Dr. Mohsen? Okay, just want to make sure that. Okay, so while we're waiting, first of all, I would like to say thanks for everyone having the time to come into our symposium. Okay, so Dr. Mohsen now present. Can the committee have a spotlight on Dr. Mohsen, please? Hi, Mohsen, how are you? Very nice to meet you.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet
Dr.
you.
Mohsen, really appreciate it for your time coming to our first international symposium in psychology. I know we've met a couple of times during a few months ago. So everyone, please welcome Dr. Mohsen Josanlo. I would like to give you a brief overview about Dr. Mohsen's works. As we may know that in Indonesia, we are currently doing quite a lot of well-being studies, and I believe that Dr. Mohsen Josanlo is one of the most cited work in terms of doing research of well-being in intercultural or cross-cultural context. So Dr. Mohsen is currently a associate professor at the Kim Young University in South Korea, and she also doing her honorary principal fellow at the Center for Wellbeing Science at the University of Melbourne in Australia, and also research associate in the Department of Psychology, University of Victoria. And some of his current work, well, actually is very productive. And no wonder he become one of the top tier scholars in positive psychology and well-being research globally. I would like to read some of his recent studies about the well-being that upcoming published in European Journal of Social Psychology about rethinking national well-being. And then he also doing work in the relating the economy inequality and well-being gap around the globe. And then also he talked about the well-being related to the spirituality, religiosity that will anticipated published hopefully within near future, so we can follow his study. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Mohsen. So you have like 45 minutes for your presentation, and then we will proceed to the Q&A session. So please, Dr. Mohsen, time is yours.
Thank you so much for a wonderful introduction. So glad to be here today talking about well-being and culture. What I usually do, I always talk about well-being and culture. So let me share my slides. Can you see my slides?
Yeah, we can.
All right, so we are all set and I can start. I have 45 minutes, so I should get to it quickly. So let's talk about a framework to understand cultural differences in well-being. So today I will talk about this distinction. Somehow this distinction is very important, a distinction between individualistic and collectivistic cultures. Of course, this is not a binary. I'm not saying that each culture is either individualistic or collectivistic. I'm just saying that there's a spectrum And each culture is somewhere on this spectrum, closer to individualistic pole or collectivistic, or in the middle, or in varying degrees showing individualistic and collectivistic perspectives. But this distinction is important for my discussion. Now, there are many studies published on well-being and culture. I mean, this is not a field that you should try hard to find papers. There are many, hundreds of papers published. If you search the literature, you see a lot of empirical studies talking about cultural differences. They include 2 cultures, 3 cultures, even 10 cultures, 20 cultures. So we have a lot of studies. But what we don't have yet is integrative frameworks to synthesize all these empirical findings and create a system to guide future research and facilitate understanding of all these findings. So we are in need of systematic frameworks, and today I'm going to introduce one of the frameworks that my colleagues and I have developed to make sense of all these cultural findings. So the framework that I'm going to talk about was introduced in 2021 in this book chapter along with my colleagues. This book chapter is open access, so everyone can freely download the book chapter. If you click on this, just search the title and you can download the book chapter. And today I'm going to present the framework and add new findings and stuff that were not mentioned in the chapter to develop the idea further. So basically, what is this framework? We are arguing that if you want to understand how cultures are different on well-being, you have to pay attention to 4 dimensions. The first one is the difference between hedonic and eudaimonic emphasis. The second one, self-enhancement versus self-transcendence. Next one, independence versus interdependence. And finally, the importance of context. So let's talk about them one by one. I start with hedonic versus eudaimonic emphasis. So when I look at cultures, literature on what well-being is, so each culture or region, they write about well-being, what well-being means. They have their own philosophies, religions. So when I look at these different conceptualizations of well-being in different cultures, this distinction between hedonic and eudaimonic emphasis stands out. It's very interesting for me. I see that in individualistic cultures. When I say individualistic cultures, I mean Western social science, modern Western social science, the science of well-being, and in general, Western popular approach. For example, what you see in positive psychology or humanistic psychology. When I look at them, I see that hedonic aspects of well-being, hedonic means emotional aspects, like feeling good, having pleasurable experiences, positive subjective feelings. These are crucial for well-being in Western context and Western cultures. So they pay a lot of attention to these positive feelings, lack of negative feelings, and pleasurable and pleasant experiences. Even when you look at, so this book here, this is a classic edited by Dinner and Kahneman. These are leading experts, and Schwartz. These are leading experts in well-being. And in the introduction, they say that hedonic well-being is at the center of a story. When we talk about well-being, hedonic aspect of it is at the center. Also, if you look at modern behavioral economics and general economics, you see that, for example, Layard, who is a very famous researcher in this, a leading researcher in this area, in one of his books, he says that happiness is the ultimate goal of humanity. And by happiness, he means a subjective sense of happiness, basically life satisfaction and positive judgment of life. So I see that individualistic cultures put emphasis on the hedonic aspect, and they say, okay, the hedonic aspect of well-being maybe is not the whole. So we have eudaimonic aspects. I will talk about them later. But hedonic aspects are crucial and foundational, and we need them. So without them, you cannot be really talking about well-being. For example, Frank Martella, my friend and colleague, he wrote a new article, What is Positive Psychological Functioning? So he tries to integrate all the models of well-being in Western psychology. In this work, it's a very interesting Western perspective on well-being. I really admire his work. He summarizes what Western psychology has to say very well. But look at the model that he developed. Affective well-being and evaluative well-being, these are hedonic aspects of well-being. And then basic psychological needs and functional attitudes, these are eudaimonic aspects of well-being. And in his model, like a summary, a synthesis of Western perspectives of well-being, he puts hedonic well-being as the outcome and eudaimonic well-being as the predictor. So basically, what I see here, an implicit assumption here, that the main point that at the heart of well-being is hedonic well-being in Western literature. And eudaimonic well-being is important because it contributes to hedonic well-being. I see that hedonic well-being is put at a higher position in the hierarchy implicitly in this kind of synthesis of literature. Now, what about collectivistic cultures? Now, hedonic aspects are about emotions. So let's go back to the fundamental distinction here. Hedonic aspects are about positive feeling, emotions. Eudaimonic is about virtues. Living your life in a way that is consistent with virtues. And these virtues can be, for example, respecting other people. It can be autonomy. It can be religiosity. So this one is about optimal functioning, but this one is about hedonic. So this positive feeling good. This one is functioning well. Okay, so what I'm saying is that individualistic cultures put the emphasis on hedonic aspects, but collectivistic cultures, when I look at Buddhism, Islam, Hinduism, Confucianism, Taoism, Sufism, many non-Western traditions, when I look at African traditional cultures, when I look at indigenous cultures, Latin American cultures, I see hedonic aspects are not really crucial for well-being. It's important to feel good, to feel happy, to have pleasure. Of course, it's important. It's important. These are considered important in all these traditions. But if you ask them, what is well-being? They do not define well-being based on positive feelings. Instead, they emphasize virtues. If you want to have well-being, you have to live a certain life. You should have a certain lifestyle. Basically, you have to stick to virtues. For example, Islamic virtues, and your duties are more important than how you feel, like just happiness, laughing, and pleasure. Those are important, but that's not well-being. Well-being is how much you perform virtues and your responsibilities and duties towards other people. So this is what I get from collectivistic traditions. Also, I see that in many non-Western cultures, there are dialectic views of emotions. So it's not just maximize positive feelings. Like Western perspective is the more positive feelings you have, usually, basically the idea is that the more positive feelings and the less negative feelings you have, it's better for your well-being, right? But I see a different picture in non-Western cultures. There are dialectical views saying that positive feelings and negative feelings, we have to transcend this duality. We have to go beyond this duality. It's not just maximizing positive feelings and minimizing negative feelings. It's like understanding that both of them are the same and we have to transcend them. Okay, so let me give you some empirical results. Kuba, my friend, and his team, they did a study in, I think, 61 countries, and one of the questions was, how much do you value happiness? So basically, happiness means emotional happiness. And they found that in individualistic cultures, people emphasize happiness more, and in collectivistic cultures, people emphasize happiness less. So empirical findings also suggest that emotional well-being is less prioritized in non-Western cultures. Let me give you one example of an Indonesian indigenous cultural group. This is a classic study. Happiness and unhappiness. So this is the perspective of that ethnicity about happiness and unhappiness, emotional well-being. Happiness and unhappiness are, after all, just the same. Now, this is a non-Western perspective, dialectical perspective on emotional well-being. Positive emotions are interesting, but they are not actually well-being. Instead, you have to stick to virtues and duties. You shed tears when you laugh and also when you cry. And besides, they imply one another. So happiness implies unhappiness, and unhappiness implies happiness. Happy now, unhappy later. Unhappy now, happy later. The reasonable, prudent, wise person strives not for happiness, emotional happiness, but for a tranquil detachment, which frees himself or herself from endless oscillation between gratification and frustration. So basically, instead of maximizing positive feelings, just go beyond, understand that positive feelings and negative feelings, both of them are essential parts of life, and you have to just accept both of them and go beyond this duality. Also, let me give you one example from Islam, which says, which clearly shows that Islam doesn't have a hedonic understanding of well-being. Enjoyments derived from physical, material, or natural means of life are not sufficient for humans' happiness and felicity. A series of spiritual needs are inbuilt in the human nature, without whose satisfaction the enjoyment provided by material means of life is not enough to make one true happy. So clearly you see that Islam doesn't have a hedonic understanding of well-being. It has instead a eudaimonic. You have to pay attention to spiritual virtues if you want to have well-being. So this is a scale I developed to measure hedonic and eudaimonic well-being. There are 8 items here, and I ask you to choose 5 of them. So 4 of them are hedonic, for example, feeling positive, leading an exciting life, enjoying yourself. And 4 of them are eudaimonic, self-knowledge, having goals and direction in life. So here, there's a competition. If you choose one hedonic, this means you lose one eudaimonic. So you should be careful. And your choice shows your approach. If you are, your understanding of well-being is eudaimonic or hedonic. So my colleagues helped me to collect data. No, wait a second. Now, this is the data, adult data in these countries. And as you can see, people are different. But the most popular one is positive feeling and self-knowledge and having goals and direction in life and enjoying oneself. So both hedonic and eudaimonic, right? This is my colleagues also helped me to collect data in like 15 countries, student samples. Again, we see the same picture. Hedonic and eudaimonic items are chosen almost equally, but the main finding is here. So this is hedonism score, the number of hedonic items chosen, the average number of hedonic items. As you can see, USA and New Zealand, the number of hedonic items, like enjoying life, is the highest among all the cultures. So in individualistic cultures, people pick more hedonic items. In Iran, Singapore, Hong Kong, India, Russia, Brazil, Kenya, Kuwait, Pakistan, as you can see, especially in Iran, people are more likely to choose eudaimonic items. So in Islamic cultures, if you ask people what is well-being, people are more likely to pick eudaimonic items. In Western cultures, when you ask people what is well-being, they are more likely to pick hedonic items. And the correlation between eudaimonism and globalization is negative. So the more globalized a culture is, people are less likely to choose eudaimonic items and more likely to choose hedonic items. Okay. Also, I wanted to also share with you my fear of happiness scale here. This is measuring your opinion about, do you think happiness can have negative consequences? So 5 items, and my colleagues helped me to collect data in many countries, about more than 20 countries. And guess what? Collectivistic cultures are more likely to have negative perceptions of happiness. India, Pakistan, Taiwan, Philippines, Hong Kong, Cuba, Kenya, they have the highest scores of fear of happiness or aversion to happiness. On the other hand, individualistic cultures have lower fear of happiness. So because they have a hedonic approach to well-being, so happiness is more positive for them. But these cultures, they have a eudaimonic approach, and they think that sometimes a lot of happiness is also not very good. Maybe it's even sinful, or it's out of balance, you know. Okay, let's move to the second dimension, self-transcendence and self-enhancement. So when I look at how cultures define well-being, I see that individualistic cultures, they put emphasis on how much you like yourself. So it's important to think that you are a good person, capable, at least as good as other people, but even better. So you have to promote yourself. You have to think that you are good. You have to have high self-esteem. That's an important aspect of well-being in these cultures. So concepts such as strong ego, self-esteem, self-confidence, assertiveness, these are emphasized in all models, all Western models of well-being. For example, this classic book, Yahoda synthesized all theories of well-being of her time: humanistic, clinical, psychodynamic. And she says that one of the main aspects that is emphasizing all Western models of well-being is self-acceptance, self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-respect. If you want to have high well-being, you have to love yourself, have a positive perspective on yourself, and you think you are better than other people, you are a capable person, and you can accept yourself. What about collectivist cultures? Now, these cultures don't say hate yourself, or they don't say self-esteem is not important. Self-esteem is important. You should not hate yourself, but you don't see that kind of emphasis on self-esteem. You don't see that, like if you look at how Buddhism defines well-being, first of all, according to Buddhism, the concept of self is an illusion. So how can you really love yourself if it's an illusion? So what I see in many of these cultures, self-esteem is a good thing if you have it. Try to like yourself, but it's not at the heart of well-being. Even you can have negative perspectives on yourself. Who cares? There are more important things. Instead of focusing on self and self-esteem, like you look at Hinduism, look at Buddhism, look at Islam, look at indigenous cultures, they emphasize how you should lose yourself. How you should put God first and then yourself. So it's more important your relationship to God rather than how much you like yourself. So if you look at traditional sources of knowledge from non-Western cultures, you see there's no emphasis on self-esteem. Self-esteem is something good, but it's not a central aspect of well-being. In fact, these cultures, they talk about first, the self doesn't exist. Second, some of them say you have to forget about yourself. You should not emphasize yourself. You should lose yourself. You should sacrifice yourself. This is real well-being, when you put other people first. And they emphasize modesty and self-improvement. Basically, they say you should have a critical view of yourself and then try to improve yourself. And you should not be selfish. So what I see in individualistic cultures, I see that they emphasize that each person should be unique. You have to discover your uniqueness and you have to promote it. You have to love it. You have to show it. And instead of shared identity, they emphasize your sense of uniqueness, how you're different from other people and how you can be better than other people. On the other hand, collectivistic cultures, they usually say, do not be obsessed with yourself and uniqueness. You are part of a larger group. You are part of the cosmos. You are part of the universe, or we are just a small part of this spiritual system. You're a small part of your group, your nation, your ethnicity. Like, they emphasize shared identity more than uniqueness. And honestly, this is what I get after reading a lot of non-Western sources. Instead of how much you like yourself, more important is how much other people like you. So that's the goal. You should have dignity. You should behave in such a way that people respect you. So it's more important than just loving yourself and thinking that you are better than other people. So other respect more important than self-respect, in my opinion. We have many empirical studies, actually. So everything I say, we have empirical evidence behind it. Please look at the chapter that I introduced at the beginning. I present a lot of we present with my colleagues a lot of empirical evidence. But this one is also a paper that you can look at brain science and also other behavioral measures. Basically, they show that self-enhancement is more pronounced in Western people. When you compare them to, for example, Chinese, Japanese, Korean people, non-Western populations, we see that self-enhancement motive is stronger in Western cultures. We have massive literature on this. So let me give you one example saying that it's not just about how much you love yourself and how much you promote yourself. Humility is the root of virtue. So this text, this is an article actually, written Muslim. So first of all, stay away from pride. Don't be a good person, other people. Humility stands the root of virtue. Instead of self-enhancement, it appears to me that Islam is saying self-worrying. So basement, like, kind of try to do not be obsessed with yourself. Effacement of your sense of self, using God and your community. So these are more important in Islam. And some of you may know about Sufism. And this is a strong tradition of battling your ego. Muslims call it nafs. So instead of worshiping your ego, you have to actually combat constantly ego. You have to struggle with the ego. And you have to slay your ego, like kill your ego. So how can we talk about an emphasis on self-enhancement for other people, so it's just not consistent, really. Let's move to the next dimension. Again, this is very important. When you look at how cultures define well-being, independence or interdependence. When I look at Western mainstream models like positive psychology, humanistic psychology, well-being science, I see in all of the models, with no exception, dimensions related to independence, autonomy, agency, mastery, self-directedness, and self-determination. This is an important part of every Western model of well-being. Basically, you have to regulate your behaviors from within and do it powerfully and independently. Another aspect of these models is you have to resist social pressure and you have to stay away from conformity. You should have your own ideas. You should not follow the tradition. So this is the vibe I get from individualistic models of well-being, Western psychological models of well-being, and a strong emphasis on self-determination. What about non-Western cultures? Okay, autonomy is important. When I look at Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, Confucianism, autonomy is important. Independence is important. Of course, mastery is important. You have to take initiative. You have to express yourself. You have to make decisions yourself. Everyone loves that. We know humans like to be free. But it's more complicated. In these cultures, I mean, in Western cultures, I see conformity is considered a bad thing. And if you are a conformist, this means you don't have autonomy, agency. But I see in non-Western cultures, conformity is not necessarily the opposite of autonomy. You can be autonomous at the same time conform with Islamic rules, conform with your parents' idea. So you can accept ideas from other people and at the same time be autonomous. That's nothing wrong with that. Autonomy doesn't mean that you should not accept orders from your group or from superiors. Like if your community gives you responsibility, this doesn't mean that you don't have autonomy. This means that you should use your autonomy to perform the duties, like do your responsibilities in the best way possible. So that's not against the principle of autonomy. Also, autonomy is important, but it's not the most important thing. We have other important values, collectivistic values, and spiritual values. So autonomy is important, but at the end of the day, God is more important, right? Many cultures believe that. Non-Western cultures have that idea. So you have to balance your autonomy with what God wants, what your community wants, what your religion, your tradition wants, what your family wants from you. So you can be autonomous to your family. So there's no conflict here. So the concept I would emphasize in collectivistic cultures, but it's balanced against other values. And that the well-being is in the balance, not just in mere autonomy. In the West, autonomy is standalone value. The more, the better. In non-Western cultures, you have to balance your autonomy against other values. And if you can find that balance, then you have. So in collectivist cultures, this is not on independence, making decisions yourself. Instead, emphasis on interdependence, how well you can stay connected to other people, perform collectively, operate collectively with other people smoothly, harmoniously, right? So autonomy can be a thing and a bad thing. If your autonomy is against harmony and it disrupts your social harmony, then actually it's a bad thing. And people think that you are selfish. You just want to make your decisions yourself. You are disregarding the community. So you are immature. So autonomy is important, but you have to balance it with other values. I have an example from Hindu that says, maintenance of balance and harmony is the most important aim in life. So it doesn't say that autonomy is the most important aim of human life. It says harmony. And I see similar statements from many non-Western traditional cultures. An example from indigenous peoples of Indonesia, this article, Adat, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but this is probably a indigenous or Islamic term. It seems to me Arabic term. Basically, communal commitment to relational interdependence. So that's the foundation of in this culture. Relational interdependence. If you learn how to be part of a larger group, function smoothly, find your position there, respect other people's position, and they like you, you like them, and you function as a unit, not as a person, then you can actually grow and thrive together. So we have a collectivistic understanding of well-being, which is not based on personal autonomy. It's how these autonomies come together and function together harmoniously. And so it becomes a group agency rather than personal agency. And the last dimension I want to talk about is about context. So when I look at individualistic concepts of well-being, I see, according to Western and psychological models of well-being, your happiness is in your hand. Your well-being is in your hand. You have to make good decisions. If you're smart and if you know how, you become happy and you can have high well-being. So the agency is placed inside the person. You are considered the CEO of your happiness and well-being. So that's the idea. Like almost all of it is up to you. So if you make good decisions, you can achieve happiness and well-being. And somehow they say happiness and well-being comes from within, and it just depends on your good decisions and good knowledge, right? But I get a different picture from collectivistic models. I see it's much more complicated. If you look at traditional sources of knowledge in indigenous cultures, non-Western cultures, Indonesia, in Islam, in Buddhism, you see that well-being is a very complicated thing. It's not in your own hand. It's way more complicated. Faith is important. God is important. Other people are important. The system, the cosmos, everything is interactive. So it's not just a personal choice. It's broader than that. Even ancestors are important. Spirits are important. Faith is important. Your interaction with the shaman is important. You know, what God wants for you is important. So well-being contextualized in non-Western cultures. So it's not just in your own hand. It depends on many other factors. Many non-Western models of well-being, this Maori, in all of them you see well-being is not just psychological, mental and emotional. It's also family and social relationships, part of your well-being, land and roots. So how can you have well-being if you are not in your own land, or if you don't have a good relationship with your land, physical, spiritual? So Western models tend to focus on this aspect only, but we see a holistic system here. Now, this is for Australian Aboriginals. Yes, there's a self and there is a mind and emotions. There's a psychological aspect to well-being, but look non-psychological and external factors, connection to family and kin, connection to community, culture, country, ancestors, and spirits, connection to body. So it's way more holistic, and well-being is not just the decision you make. Well-being is a result of a whole system functioning well, and there are many agents. It's not just you, your culture, your land, the spirits, ancestors, all of them are working, your faith, God. I have an example from Indonesia. I did a lot of actually studies on Indonesia for this presentation. And from this book, Actually, in traditional Indonesian culture, animism is a strong facet. So traditionally in Indonesia, spirits of the earth, air, and waters, these are important. These can influence your well-being, your life. Visible and invisible realms, guardian spirits, all these play a role in your life and well-being. Ancestors, people often consider natural and supernatural spirits as the primary causes of misfortunes as well as success, unhappiness as well as well-being. So traditionally, in many non-Western cultures, your well-being is determined not just simply what you want, it's a system, a holistic system working together. Now, I think I'm running out of time, so let's talk about the last bit of this presentation. I want to now summarize everything. So we talked about 4 dimensions, right? Let me go back to a list of dimensions here. So hedonic versus eudaimonic, self-enhancement versus self-transcendence, independence versus interdependence, and the importance of context, like personal agency, atomism versus holism, importance of context. So, in a recent article, which we published last year with my philosopher friend, we published, again, this is an article and it's open access. Anyone can download it. We summarized these differences. And there, we talked about Western models and somehow the history of Western concepts of well-being. So basically, our argument is that Western concepts of well-being, all of them are based on the concept of authenticity. What is authenticity? Authenticity has some facets as we define it. First of all, so the ideal of authenticity, which is a very important ideal for Western models of well-being, we prove that many models of well-being is based on the foundation of authenticity, and we talk about the historical roots of that and how it's different from non-Western models. So authenticity, what is it? Basically, first, important is to discover yourself. You have a self, unique self, and you have to discover it. You have to know it. You have to like it. You have to express it. So you have to express your uniqueness. You have to act on yourself. And you have to use your own standards. Do not, it should be a personal decision. Also, do not accept tradition. You have your own voice. You have to think for yourself. So this is the ideal authenticity that is a very important Western cultures and also non-Western cultures, but it's more central in Western cultures. So we say that this ideal of authenticity originated during the Enlightenment and modernity movements, and then through 2 philosophies, Romanticism and existentialism. It reached Western philosophy and culture and public discourse, and then influenced humanistic existential psychology as well as positive psychology. And through this influence, mainstream psychology is now, it admires authenticity and values authenticity, usually implicitly. For example, self-determination theory, which is a very strong theory in psychology, is based on the ideal of authenticity. So, well, here's the point. I believe that Western models of well-being are designed to facilitate achievement of authenticity. An emphasis on emotions, personal feelings. Feelings are personal things. So when you have them, you have to express them, you have to respect them. They are telling you about you. They're telling you about your unique. So they are subjective, personal. So emotions become important. Self-enhancement is important because it helps authenticity. It helps self-actualization. It helps you to improve yourself develop yourself better, autonomy, making decisions based on what you want, not social pressure, and thinking that your life and your well-being is in your own hand, and you can define it yourself, and you can have your own rules for well-being. So all of them help authenticity. Then, what about non-Western cultures? I propose that the ultimate ideal in non-Western cultures is not authenticity, is harmony. An emphasis on virtues. Virtues, most of them are social virtues. They help you to have good relationship with other people and respect your culture and develop yourself to be appropriate. Your behavior becomes appropriate for your culture and context. So virtues are more important. Instead of focusing on yourself, you have to, if you want harmony, you have to transcend yourself. You should not be selfish. You should be instead modest. You have to sacrifice your needs to be mature. You have to see what other people, the whole group wants. And of course, in order to achieve harmony, you have to understand that you are part of other groups and units. It's not just you. Your decisions should be made by everyone. Also, you should understand that your life and your well-being is not a personal thing, and it depends on other people and other elements of the holistic system. So I would say we have two ideals. The Western ideal is authenticity, and this is my definition, working definition of authenticity, which is the quality of being true to yourself, alignment between your thoughts, feelings, and actions, commitment to living according to your own values and principles rather than external pressures. What is harmony? My definition: a holistic state of balance and attunement, emphasizing interconnectedness, smooth relationships, and peaceful alignment with the natural and spiritual order. So I believe non-Western cultures are trying to achieve this, and Western cultures are trying to achieve this. Let me finish with this beautiful cultural thing that I found in Indonesia. Trihita Karana. Trihita Karana is a traditional philosophy for life on the island of Bali. The literal translation is roughly the 3 causes of well-being. So what are they? Harmony with God, harmony among people, harmony with nature and environment. Now I see harmony here. I don't see authenticity really. Thank you so much. I think I ran out of time. I didn't keep the time, but intuitively, I think I ran out of time. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I would like to invite everyone to give a warm applause for Mohsen. So Mohsen, thank you so much for the presentation. It's very excellent, exciting, yet insightful. I know that you previously mentioned that well-being is complicated, and I can see that from your presentation and throughout the research that we discussed earlier. So hope you mind to answer some of the questions arise in the chat box. I will read some of the questions that
absolutely,
yeah. So the first question, from Penny Handayani. She asked about, well, actually you already mentioned this. What are the key cultural factors that from one nation well-being, especially in Asian collectivistic culture compared to individualistic culture of the West? So she asking about key cultural factors that seems more, salient for Indonesia as part of the collectivistic society compared to the Western nation. And
I should go back to this slide and the whole message, this framework. I believe that eudaimonism, self-transcendence, interdependence, and holism. These are the foundations of well-being. And the ultimate goal of well-being in the Indonesian context would be, I'm not saying that authenticity is not important in non-Western cultures. I'm just saying that harmony is more important. So the ultimate goal would be harmony. That's the the general model. Of course, authenticity is important, but as long as you can keep your harmony with your religion, your tradition, and your people, and your land, your philosophy of life. So harmony is the foundation, and then we see these four emphases. I would say the harmony-based model matches Indonesian culture better than the authenticity-based model. An emphasis on pleasure and feelings, positive feelings, self-enhancement, autonomy, and I mean, all of these are important. Autonomy is important in Indonesia and all cultures, but we just want to see, can we talk about two broad types of models, authenticity-based models and harmony-based models? I believe we can. I believe we really have two prototypes here. And I would say Indonesia is closer to the harmony-based model.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. Thank you, Mohsen. So relating to your answer, so this is a follow-up question about is there any specific study related to a particular group, like what asked by Ernawati related to, is there any existing study related to particular group of participant like parents, children's, related to how they interpret and experience well-being?
You mean in Indonesia?
Yeah, well, the question is not specific to Indonesian, but maybe like similar.
Yeah, we have a lot of studies actually asking people about their definition of well-being. I think I have seen Indonesian studies. I don't remember really the results, but we have many studies that we categorize them as qualitative studies. They ask people. I personally have read maybe 30 of them, but every year I see new studies, and somehow many of these studies are somehow consistent with the model that I presented today. For example, you are more likely, when you ask in Japan what well-being is, you are more likely to see fear of happiness ideas in Japan than in USA. You are more likely to see an emphasis on social harmony and a kind of attunement between you and your group and your family as the foundation of well-being. In Korea, it's way more important. Your harmony with your family is way more important than, for example, I remember a study USA and Korea. So family was highlighted in Korea, whereas friends were considered more important for well-being in the USA. So there are many studies actually, and somehow my understanding is that many of these cross-cultural qualitative studies are consistent with the model I presented today. We see more ideas related to harmony in non-Western cultures and more ideas related to, for example, hedonic and pleasure emphasis and autonomy in Western cultures.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you so much. So due to our limited time, so I will not read all the questions, but basically there's a, an aspiration related to, as the exchanging world to more global, like Indonesia, like in the urban area where the composition of our youngster, they tend to have like totally different point of view of life. So how do you see this globalization transition change into how people from different countries shape their sense of well-being?
So this is what I see across the cultures. Like more and more, all cultures are starting to emphasize authenticity, especially younger people in bigger cities and middle class, more and more in Indonesia, in the Philippines, in everywhere, I don't know, in Japan, in Korea, in Africa. So I'm not saying that only Western cultures value authenticity. I see that because of exposure, because of globalization, exposure to media, social media, authenticity is becoming important in many cultures more and more. So especially younger people, if you ask probably younger middle class people in big cities in Indonesia to define well-being, you will get something very close to authenticity probably. However, still there's a gap. We know that the world is becoming more individualistic. We know that authenticity is becoming more important, but at the same time, still non-Western cultures are closer to harmony-based models, as the whole culture is still sticking to some traditions, resisting to just becoming Westernized fully. So Western culture is influencing, the globalized culture is influencing, authenticity is becoming more important, especially young people who are exposed to Western media and social media. In social media, you are supposed to show your authentic self. Also, I'm not sure how much that is possible, but somehow authenticity becomes important in the modern discourse in all cultures. But let's not forget that individualism is rising in the world, not just in Indonesia. In the USA also, individualism is rising. In the European countries also, individualism is rising. So although individualism is rising in Indonesia, but still the gap remains. Indonesia is still more collectivistic than USA, because with the same speed that individualism is rising in Indonesia, it's also rising in USA. So studies show that globally, almost in all countries, individualism is rising, but still the gap remains. Like still some countries are more collectivistic. So let's say authenticity models and authenticity ideals, an authentic way of defining well-being is also becoming more prevalent in Indonesia, but still the traditional harmony-based model is very strong, still is there. And probably there are some clashes between young people and older people and authorities. Maybe there are some clashes, but anyway, still we can say many non-Western cultures are more collectivistic and more harmony focused than many Western cultures.
Yeah. Got it. Crystal clear for that, Mohsen. I know this is very inspiring talk, and I can see that lots of participants raising their question. And I hope what we discussed today, what Mohsen present to us today, can inspire us, our Indonesian researchers, to put to our agenda of research in the future about how we explore and understand well-being in a more comprehensive way. So, Mohsen, once again, really do appreciate for your time sharing with us. Looking forward for any future collaboration with you. So once again, I wish you all the best, and thank you everyone for attending the session. So goodbye everyone, back to the MC. Thank you, Mohsen.
Thank you everyone. Have a good day.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Mohsen Josanlo, for that enlightening presentation. As a token of appreciation, we would like to present a certificate to you, Doctor, which will be handed over by me. Yeah. Once again, thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Mohsen Josanlo. Here's the token of appreciation. And thank you as well to Mr. Herdian Maulana, PhD, for convening these sessions. All right, participants. The third session is entitled The Emerging Adult Mindscape, Cultivating Resilience in a Rapidly Changing World. This session will be delivered by Associate Professor Dr. Norbayah Abdul Kadir, Associate Professor at University Kebangsaan Malaysia, with expertise in health and social care psychology. The session will be convened by Mrs. Rahmadianti Gazadinda, MSc, lecturer at Universitas Negeri Jakarta. Please join me in welcoming our distinguished guest.
Thank you, Arindra. Hi, Prof. Nurbaya, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Should I call you ma'am or should I call you just like in
It's okay. You can call me whatever you like.
Okay. Okay, thank you for joining us today. Wait a minute, I'll give you a little bit introductions for you. Okay, so good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Right now, well, I hope you are still feeling energized and inspired as we continue with today's symposiums. We have had some fascinating discussions already, and I believe the next sections will give us even more to reflect on, especially regarding the challenge and opportunity faced by emerging adults like us, young people in today's fast-changing world. So it is my great honor to introduce our distinguished speaker, Prof. Dr. Bayah Abdul Kadir, an associate professor at the Faculty of Social Science and Humanities, University Kebangsaan Malaysia. She's also based at the Center for Research in Psychology and Human Well-being, where much of her impactful work is conducted. Well, she earned her PhD in psychology from London, following a master's degree in Michigan. Over the course of her career, she has produced an impressive body of research publications, focusing on resilience, well-being, quality of life, life satisfactions, and so on. Her scholarly interests are deeply connected to a broad range of mental health concerns, such as depression, suicide, emotional regulation, positive youth development, and so on. So I think I should mix it up with a little bit Indonesia, like Ibu Nurbaya will deliver her presentations entitled The Emerging Adult Mindscape, Cultivating Resilience in a Rapidly Changing World. So she'll guide us through how the landscape of our world and the mindscape of emerging adult has been shifting, shaped by the change in many aspects. So without further ado, please join me welcoming Ibu Nurbaya Abdul Kadir to share your insight with us. Share screen is yours.
Okay, let me. Okay, thank you. 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 Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So hi everyone. Thank you for inviting me to give talks on this topic, right? On well-being actually. Okay, actually today we are going to talk about something that matters to each of us and how to stay strong and bounce back when life throws us challenges, especially as we go into adulthood. Actually, not for me. Normally, for our young people, yeah, especially in this symposium, right? So, as we know, right now the world is changing so quickly, right? With new technology, different ways of working, different ways of thinking, and changing expectation from family and society, it's normal to feel a little bit stressed, lost, or uncertain about our future, right? So, uh, so in this section, let me. Hmm, this is my son laptop. Okay. Okay. In this session, I will cover the introduction first, the change the landscape, and followed by the understanding the mind space, the key pillars of resilience, and of practical strategy, cultivating resilience, the role of environment, and I end up with the conclusion when we empowering our resilient adults. So let's get started. So let me tell you about Amir, a scenario, a story, yeah? A young adult today. So Amir is 25 years old. He finished his university studies last year, but finding a full-time job has not been easy, right? So Amir worked as a freelance graphic designer during the day, and in the evenings, he teaches online English classes to students. Whenever he has time off, he shares his projects and connects with other young designers on social media platforms like Instagram and LinkedIn, hoping networking will open new doors. So Amir's parents had a different experience at his age. They both had stable jobs, got married early, and bought a home in their 20s. But for Amir, those milestones seem far away. He is still figuring out what kinds of career he wants, whether he should move to a new city, and how to balance work, family, and personal life, right? So every day, Amir faces exciting choices. He can learn new skills online, travel for remote gigs, and meet people from all over the world. But he also feels uncertain about the future, worries about job security, and sometimes compares himself to friends who seem more settled. Okay, so Amir's story shows how emerging adulthood today is full of both opportunities and also challenges, and why being resilient is so important to thrive in our changing world. So we live in an era of unprecedented and rapid change that shapes our young people experience the transition from adolescent to adulthood. This stage we call emerging adulthood no longer look like it did even a generation ago, but of several major forces. So one of the major forces like technology advances and more economic shifts, social and cultural changes, psychological impact, and why does this matter? Because what? So understanding this changing landscape help us appreciate the pressures emerging adult face. It also highlights why cultivating resilience is essential for their well-being, success, and meaningful engagement with the world. So now we go to understanding by explore who emerging adults are. So let's look at the characteristic of emerging adulthood. First, you can see that we need to define that emerging adulthood is a relatively new concept in developmental psychology, describing the period between ages 18 and 29 years old, a distinct phase bridging adolescent and full adulthood. It is characterized by, first, identity exploration, which young people experiment with different rules, beliefs, careers, and relationship to discover who they truly are. The second, instability. So frequent changes occur in residence, educational paths, personal relationship, and employment. And the third one, self-focus. Emerging adults have fewer obligations to others, allowing them to focus on personal development. Feeling in between. So this emerging adult, they neither see themselves as adolescent nor fully as adult, which can create ambiguity and the possibility. This period is often viewed as full of potential with many life paths. So this stage is no longer than in past generations due to social and economic changes in our world today, right? Allowing more times for explorations, but also contribution to uncertainty and pressure. So let me give you another example. Consider Sarah, a 20-year-old who recently graduated from university. Instead of immediately starting a full-time job in a field, she decided to take a year gap to explore her opinions and gain new experiences. So during this year, Sarah tried several part-time jobs, from working as a barista in a cafe to assisting at a local community center. Each job teaches her different skills and helps understanding what she enjoys and what she doesn't in a work environment. Sarah also uses this time to travel to different countries, immersing herself in a new cultures, meeting people from around the world. These experiences expand her worldview, challenge her assumption, and help her grow more independent and adaptable. Along the way, Sarah's personal relationship evolved. She reconnects with old friends, builds new friendships, and navigates romantic relationships that teach her more about herself and what she values in others. Though these periods may seem uncertain, right? It's a vital time of self-discovery. Sarah is building a foundation of her future, not just professionally, but emotionally and socially, preparing to make more informed and meaningful life choices in the years ahead. So next we'll discuss how shifts in society impact this developmental period. So we can see here that society today differs vastly from the past, that influencing how emerging adulthood is experienced. Education is that more young people attend college and continue studies longer, delaying full independence. And economy, we look at the job markets are more competitive, less stable, and often require diverse care. And we look at the family and relationship, the marriage and childbearing occur later. Sometimes our young people, prohibited, and create diverse family forms is seeing more common. And we look at cultural expectations that it also greater acceptance of varied lifestyle choices and non-linear life paths. And we look at this shift prolong the period of identity exploration and require new competencies to manage complexity. So this means that our life become more complex, and you can see here that the traditional expectation to graduate, get a stable job, marry and settle, has been replaced by very fluid life as trajectories. Okay. So let's look at the needs of resilience. Okay. You can see here that emerging adults face numerous, often simultaneous pressures like academic achievement, job hunting, relationship complexity, and societal expectation. Previous and recent studies found that anxiety and depression rates are rising in this group. So that means that our young people, they have a tendency to experience anxiety and depression more compared to other groups. And economic and uncertainty and social media influence add layers of distress. So what is resilient? So resilient refers to the capacity to adapt and recover from adversity is a vital. It enables young adults to handle setbacks, manage stress effectively, and pursue their goals despite challenges. Resilience is a skill that can be cultivated rather than an innate trait. So imagine, for example, Aisha, a 22 years old university student, tackling her final year's studies, time work, and pressures from family to graduate and find a stable job quickly. She often feels overwhelmed and anxious about her future, especially with short story about tough job markets and rising living costs. Despite these challenges, Aisha learned to manage stress by developing a routine, seeking support from friends and counselors, and focusing on small achievements. Through resilience, she adapts with change, keeps her mental health in check, and ultimately graduates with growing confidence. So we go to part 2, understanding the mind space. So now let's dive what's happening inside your mind during this stage of life. So understanding what's going on in your mind can help you rekindle to yourself and make better choices as you grow. Okay. Cognitive development. So your brain is still growing. Remember, the neuroscience shows that the brain prefrontal cortex possible for execute functions such as decision-making, impulse control, and long-term planning continues developing well into the late 20s. So this suggests emerging adults are still fine-tuning skills for managing complex life decisions. So this is it's a good finding, right? And they may have a tendency towards risk-taking and may value immediate rewards more than long-term outcomes, right? So this means that cognitive flexibility, the ability to adjust thinking in response to new, changing information is crucial for success in an unpredictable world. So developing these skills help emerging adults better navigate life transition. So let's see the example. So, okay, we meet Daniel. So Daniel, a recent graduate who landed his first job in marketing. The company faces sudden changes due to new technology and shifting consumer trends. Instead of resisting these changes, Daniel embraces a learning mindset. So we want to say that the learning mindset is very important, right? So he takes online courses on digital marketing, experiment with new strategies, and welcomes feedback. So this cognitive flexibility allows him to turning challenges into opportunities for growth and innovation. Okay. Now we go to emotional intelligence. Okay. So what is emotional intelligence? It's the ability to understand your own feelings and those of others, and to use understanding to manage relationships well. For emerging adults, this skill is especially important as they build new friendships, romantic relationships, and professional connections. So, for example, building relationship, we need to have good communication, empathy, and active listening, strengthen our bonds and prevent misunderstanding. Thinking emotion, for instance, awareness of your emotional help prevent impulsive reaction and reduce conflict. Because sometimes impulsive reaction is too quick. That is not really good for us. And also conflict resolution. So using calm, respectful communication to solve disagreements keeps a relationship healthy. So, for example, we consider Noor, not me, Noor, another person, an adult, who started universities from home. At first, she struggled with loneliness and misunderstanding with roommates. Learning about emotional intelligence, Noor begins practicing active listening, expressing her feelings calmly. That means emotional intelligence is very sure. It's not for everybody, right? So and because of emotional intelligence, she managed to show empathy to others, and over time she builds strong friendships and resolve conflicts constructively, which boosts a sense of belongingness and emotional well-being. So we go to part 3. So we look at the key pillars of a resilience. So let's see what are the key pillars. So first, let's talk about self-awareness, and one of the strongest foundations for resilience. So what is self-awareness? It means understanding who you are, your values, your interests, your skills, and also your limits. Everybody has limitations. It's about knowing what you are good at, where you struggle, and what triggers stress or negative feelings in you. And why it is important. When you know yourself well, you can make better decisions about your future, like what kind of jobs, relationship, or environment will help you to thrive. Self-awareness also help you spot when you are starting to feel overwhelmed. So you can take actions before things get too tough. So how do you build this self-awareness? So that take time, take time to reflect your experiences. What have you enjoyed or excelled and in the past? What is your energy or motivation? So try to identify this, right? And be honest with yourself about your strengths, about your weaknesses. It's okay not to be good at everything. But you notice your reactions in stressful situations, like before exam, during conflicts, or when you plan change. Recognizing these triggers is the first step to manage that. So trying to develop coping strategies. But when we talk about resilience, we also talk coping strategy as well, right? So when you know your triggers, you can develop. Maybe you need to take a walk, talk to friends, or write down your feelings when stressed, instead of bottling them up. Yeah? Practical example, yeah. Let's say you realize that tight deadlines make you anxious, yeah, because as a student, for instance, you have a lot of assignment, and each of assignment have their own deadlines, and you have to cope with this assignment. So now, when a big assignment is given to you, yeah, you can plan ahead, yeah, break the work into steps, and reward yourself for progress, yeah. Or if you notice you get moody when you skip meals or lose sleeps, yeah, you can prioritize self-care and reach out for help when you feel run down. So, um, you are encouraged to seek to ask for help. Yeah, if you think that sometimes when you build the strategy, then you know the strategy is not well for you. It's not enough for you. Not sufficient enough for you. So get help. Yeah, get help from friends, from counselors, from anybody who are difficult. Confident. The message. Yeah, self awareness isn't a one-time thing. Yeah, it's a long life habit. The better you know about yourself, the easier it is to choose actions and build your resilience and help you bounce back no matter what life throws at you. Okay. Let's look at the social support. Yeah. So this one is the another important pillar. Yeah. It is a connection. So humans aren't meant to go through life alone. Yeah. Because especially in our collective society, we need people, yeah, around us. We need all support, especially when times get tough. Yeah? Building a network of friends, family members, mentors, or even classmates can make a huge difference to your resilience. Why does connection matter? People who feel connected are less likely to feel stressed or overwhelmed. Having someone to talk to, a friend, husband, or even a teacher, a pet, your parent, for instance, can help you see new perspectives on challenges. Yeah? Supportive relationship, for instance, helps you to celebrate achievements and cope with disappointments. And how can you build strong relations? Reach out to people with trust. This one, trust is very important also. Don't be afraid to ask for help or that if you are feeling down. Yeah. So join clubs, for instance, volunteers, or take part in community events. These are all good ways to meet like-minded people. Remember, it's a two-way street. Supporting others also builds stronger bonds and boosts your own resilience. So this is a take-home message. Yeah? You are never really alone in this world. Yeah? By supporting each other, you make your bounce back muscle even stronger. Okay. Now we go to purpose and meaning. So this one is finding personal significance, right? So let's talk about maybe the most personal pillar. This is finding purpose and meaning is it is too personal. Yeah, it's very personal pillar. So this is figuring out what important to you. It might be helping others, being creative, and learning new things, or standing up for a cause you care about. Yeah. So why does finding purpose matter? So having sense of purpose keeps you motivated during tough times. It gives you a reason to get up in the morning and keep going even when it's hard. Meaningful goals and patience help you feel more satisfied, yeah, with life, even if things aren't perfect yet. Yeah, nobody is perfect in this world. Okay? So how do you find your purpose? Yeah. Think about what excites you or inspires you. What activities make you lose track of time? So we were talking about flow, yeah? Reflect on your values and interests. What really matters to you deep down. Is it okay if we're still exploring to explore? Yeah. No, don't stop explore yourself, yeah, and try new things until something clicks. Okay. So sometimes your purpose is bigger than just yourself, yeah. Volunteering, mentoring others, or being part of a team working toward a common goal can make life more meaningful. So this is the clear message, yeah. Your purpose doesn't have to be huge. Small one to be okay. It is just has to be yours. Yeah? And let your own sense of meaning guide you as you navigate this stage of life. And that's why when we're talking about purpose, we also talking about meaning in life. Right? So now we go to the 4 practical strategies for cultivating resilience. Okay, so now we talk the strategies, yeah? Right. So everybody talk about mindfulness and stress reduction. So I believe many of you already learned about mindfulness and how this mindfulness can reduce your stress, right? So mindfulness is a powerful tool for managing stress. You have a lot of studies to practice formal and informal mindfulness. So what is mindfulness? Simply means paying attention to what's happening right now. So we talk about present. We talk about moment to moment. Yeah, without judging, is uh, as is good or bad. No, non-judgmental. Right? When you are mindful, you are fully present. Whether you are breathing, eating, listening to music, or just walking. So why does meaningful matters? It helps slow down racing thoughts and makes it easier to focus. Because remember, right? The attention is a very essential when you practice mindfulness, right? And mindfulness can reduce anxiety, especially during exam or when life feels overwhelming. It teaches you to notice your feelings and thoughts without letting them control you. Yeah? Because you accept your feelings. Right? So how can you practice mindfulness? Yeah? Try with breathing when you are stressed. Practice depth breathing. Inhale slowly, hold for a moment, and exhale deeply. You can count sometimes how many time you have to inhale and stop for a while, and you exhale your breath. Yeah? So take mindful moments. Focus on the taste of food, for example, the sound of birds, for instance, and even the feeling of your feet on the ground. So meditation and body scan exercise are great, but just being in the moment without your phone also count too, right? This is the clear message. Yeah? Mindfulness is like a mental reset button. Yeah? The more you practice, the easier it gets to find calm, even when things are chaotic. Okay. So now we look at the cognitive restructuring. So, is for example, all or nothing thinking. We're seeing situation as black or white, yeah? Success or failure with no middle ground. Yeah? So catastrophe, let's say it, expecting the worst possible outcome without evidence, over generalization, for instance, drawing conclusion from a set events. Recognizing this pattern is a key to interrupting harmful thought cycles and promoting healthier perspective. So, example, yeah, instead of thinking I mess up once, yeah, because you want to do cognitive restructuring, I'm up one, I'm a failure. So recognize this as an exaggeration and challenge it to change it to a positive thinking. Yeah. So we need to challenge and reframing our thoughts. Yeah. Okay. So now let's look at the positive thinking, especially challenging and changing negative thought patterns. Yeah. Matter. Sometimes your brain, our brain, can be your own worst critic. You might catch yourself thinking stuff like, I can't do this, or nothing ever works out for me. These thoughts aren't always true, but they feel real at the time. So this one is a negative thought, right? So how do you deal with negative thoughts? First, notice and name the thought. Then ask yourself, is this actually true? Would I say this to a friend? Try to find a more balanced and realistic way to look at things. Instead of I always mess up, try change it. I made a mistake, but I can learn from it. So look how we change from negative thought to positive thought, positive thinking, right? So this is the takeaway. You can't stop every negative thought because remember sometimes you have automatic negative thought, but you can learn how to reframe this negative thought. Yeah, but you can choose not to believe all of them. We can choose. Train your brain. Yeah, train our brain to look for silver linings and possibilities. Okay. Sorry. Okay. This one is about goal setting and action taking. First. Okay, sorry, yeah. So this is another plus. It's a goal setting. Okay. we turn our dream. Now we have a dream, right? We turn dream into doable step. So it's okay. We have many dreams. It's okay. Don't afraid to have many dreams. Yeah, but you change our dream into doable steps. Yeah, and what? We must set goals, yeah? Let's say we set goals. How many goals we have? We have short-term goal, we have long-term goal, yeah? So because goal give you effort direction and keep you motivated because we need to achieve our goal, right? Breaking big goals into small, clear steps makes success feel possible. That's why when we set our goal, we make sure that we can achieve our goals, yeah? Achieving goals, even small ones, boost your confidence. Big goals. Use the SMART method. Yeah, this one. Measurable. Yeah? Make your goal specific. Yeah, I mean specific, measurable. Yeah, achievable, relevant, and time-based. Okay, and start small. So if you want to get healthier, aim for walk 20 minutes 3 times a week instead of get fit. The 3 times a week is equal to you do the exercise fit. Or you celebrate every step forward in tiny ones. Setbacks. No one gets everything right on the first try. Yeah. If you fall behind, adjust your plan or ask for help. Yeah. And because progress is progress, meaning that you don't stop. If you fail, don't stop. Ask for help. Yeah. Because we need to see our progress, right? So the takeaway message, setting and chasing your goals turns maybe steady into I'm working on step by step, you build resilience and trust in yourself. Okay. Okay, now we go to part 5. Okay. Let's talk about how your environment affects our resilience. Okay. So why does your environment matters? Yeah. You are shaped not just by what you do, but also by the people and places around you. That's why you are part of society, right? A supportive environment can make a tough time easier, while a negative one can make challenges feel much harder. Yeah? And what makes an environment supportive? Because we need a supportive environment. So feeling safe, accepted, and included for who you are at school, at home, or wherever you spend time. Yeah. At university, so anywhere, anywhere, yeah. So having people you trust and can turn to when you are struggling. Spaces where you can talk openly about mental health, about your stress, or any issues you might face without feeling judged. Yeah? So how can you create or find these environments? Get involved in clubs, organizations, or groups where you feel comfortable and valued. Support others and ask for support. Even small acts of kindness, like checking in on a friends or any matter. And sometimes we can call our friend, ask their well-being. So, a small event, or even though you ask your friend, how are you today? So all this can is help you to create a supportive environment. Okay, and then encourage honest, caring, a conversation, raising advice to us for uh, improvements or more support at school, at work, can also help change your environment for the betterment. So takeaway message, you can't always change everything around you, right? Because you cannot change people, right? But you can seek and build spaces where you and others are supported. The more positive your environment, the stronger your resilience. So, yeah, so let's look at the mentorship, yeah, and guidance. Okay, two things. Okay? Powerful way to learn and grow. Mentorship and also becoming a mentor. You're seeking a mentor. Okay, what is mentorship? Yeah? A mentor is someone who has experience and is willing to share advice, answer your question, and offer support. This could be a teacher or a student, colleague, or even someone in your family. So why does mentorship matter? Mentors can help you avoid common mistakes and assure you a new ways to handle challenges. Having someone to guide you boosts your confidence when you try new things. You can learn from their experiences, saving your time and stress. So how can you find a mentor or be one? Don't be afraid to reach out and ask someone you respect for guidance. More people are happy to help. Yeah. So this. Right. Okay. Take part in programs like peer mentoring or clubs where you can connect with experienced members. As you learn and grow, pay it forward to be a mentor to someone else. Sharing your story or simply listening can make a big difference in someone's life. So this is a takeaway message. No one succeeds alone. Whether you seek guidance or give it, mentorship helps everyone become more resilient. Okay. So the last part, empowering resilient adults. Okay. So we are near the conclusion of this session. Okay? So, to recap of key concept, yeah. Please remember that resilience isn't just about bouncing back from challenges. It's also about growing stronger and wiser every time we face adversity. Yeah, remember. Yeah, when you know your level of resilience, you know how you know you're resilient. Yeah, because resilient can be activated when you face challenges or adversity. We learn that resilience comes from a mix of knowing yourself, building connections, finding meanings, practicing mindfulness, thinking positively, setting goals, and surrounding yourself with supportive environments. This journey isn't easy, and it's okay to have tough days. But with this tool and the right mindset, you can navigate that uncertainties and opportunity of emerging adulthood with confidence. Believe in your ability to adapt, grow, and make a difference, not just in your own life, but also in your community. So here's my challenge to you, right? Uh, Corporation. So, make resilience part of your everyday life, right? Start small. Maybe try a few minutes of mindfulness each day. Reach out to a friend when you are struggling, or set a clear goal for this week. Remember, every step forward builds your strength. Embrace challenges as chances to learn and grow. Together, we can create a future full of hope, strength, and positive change. Okay, happy thank you for being here, for listening, and for your commitment to your own journey. The best is yet to come. Yeah, if you have any questions or want to continue the conversation, please feel free to reach out to me at my email, aknday@ukm.edu.my. Thank you very much once again, and I give back to our moderator, Ibu Ramadianti. Thank you so
you
much.
so much. Thank you so much, Prof. Nurbaya, for delivering such a thoughtful and inspiring presentation for us. I think like this topic is, I think it's gonna be for everyone of us here, because since we are talking about emerging adults, and I just realized that most of our participants today are at emerging adult session. So practically, I think I made a lot of notes from these sessions. So you have really given us a valuable insight the resilience of emerging adults, how our mental, emotions, and social well-being are shaped in today's rapidly changing world.
Yeah.
I believe many of us here are taking away not only knowledge but also our practice. Like I made some notes here. So as we can listen from Prof. Nurbaya, we are facing many challenges as emerging adults. We have societal expectations, personal expectations, pressures from everywhere. And she reminds us that something that we can hold to conquer the world is like a resilience. I mean, like that's the pillar of being emotionally and mentally healthy in the current situations. So this is a really touching and inspiring presentation. So right now I'm gonna open some questions from all of you guys. If you have any questions, you may raise your hands. Also, if you want to just type your questions here. Oh, I know, just realized that some questions is coming. So there's one question here. Let me check first. Ibu Penny Handayani, would you mind to ask directly, or you want me to read your questions? I think. Oh, okay. I think she is in the middle something right now, but I'm trying to deliver the question. So, um, Prof, here it is. Penny Handayani is asking, in your opinion, what is the key factor in helping Indonesian emerging adult to switch to a better resilience adult? Because this is a I can understand this is a prolonged exploration period for emerging adult before settling into an adult, right? So how can we do to help us as a emerging adult, especially in Indonesia? And we have we have a similar cultural between Indonesian and Malaysians. Do you have any many I think suggestions, key factors can help us to be a better resilient adult in the future?
Okay, thank you, Ibu Ramadianti, and also
Ibu
Ibu
Penny.
Penny. Okay, this is a tough question actually. Because you asked about how to be resilient for Indonesian young adults. I think you have a similar context in Malaysia as well. That when we focus on resilient, normally we build this with offering a lot of programs, youth programs, right? Because one of the programs that we build, we call is like a positive youth development. Positive PYD. Positive youth development with which we cater on issue like adversity among our youth and how to help them to be resilient. Because what resilient can be activated when you are facing adversity, or call it as stressful life event, So stressful life event is a lot, but for young adults, normally we are still let's say age 18 to 20 years old, we are still at the university or sometimes as in school, right? That's why when we talk about adversity, normally our young generation are facing conflict with their parents. That's one thing. And also they have social media challenges as well, addiction, deviant, sometimes conduct behavior. But when they go into the university, actually they build up their resilience with the activities at school. Actually, indirectly, actually, our activity at school and the university, they build up our resilience. So, my suggestion is not only for Malaysian, for Indonesian, and also every country, try to focus on activities or program that you design to help to boost resilience among our emerging adults. So one thing, before you design your program, so make sure you measure the level of resilience, emotional regulations, adversity, because we need to tap in all these kind of characteristics before we design a suitable and appropriate intervention programs.
Okay, that's a very thoughtful. I mean, thank you. I think this is something new. Also for Indonesians people, because this is the EU program. I mean, most of EU program in Indonesia were actually conducted by NGO or somewhere over else. Like,
yes, exactly.
Is it also the same in Malaysia, or is the government is also into the program they are conducting to?
Exactly. It's exactly similar because even though we have Ministry of Sport, for instance, they also offer a lot of youth program. So monthly, even though every week they have a lot of program, and also our NGOs They provide also a program, but at the same time, our NGO, which is like a very big NGOs, they always offer a research grant and they give it to the researcher in the university, and we collaborate with our NGOs and also with our government agency to come out with a suitable intervention program.
Yeah, that's an interesting. I think that's a
Yeah,
good
it's
insight for
similar in
everyone on
Indonesia.
this. Yeah, I think that's the starts of how we combine we contribute, collaborate with each other, with government,
Yes,
academicians,
exactly.
students,
Yes.
young adult, and so on, to build a better resilience adults in the future. So I can say that I hope Penny, you'll get the answer. If you have any more questions, please write it down or just text me or just raise your hand and speak it out loud. Okay. Thank you so much for the questions and the answer, Prof. Nurpaya. And I think I'm gonna ask another question. Yeah, ask audience. Do you have any direct questions you wanna tell the Prof. Nurpaya? If you have any more questions.
Ibu Ramadianti, we can anybody can share their experience, so which is good to share with more than 500 participants today. Please share your experience as well.
Yeah, you may share everything, your experience, your personal opinion. It's okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Prof, sorry, there is one question here. I'll just read it out loud. So there is a question from this, I think one of my students from Dewi Anissa. So as you explained earlier, seeking support is one important aspect of building resilience. Unfortunately, though, I find it she finds it hard to ask others to help her when she is struggling with anything. And when I do that, I mean, when she does that, there is the feeling of good, like a guilty feeling when I ask, when she asks for the help in place.
Okay.
Is there any way, I mean, your suggestions to reduce that kind of feeling when I find struggling and I would like to ask a help, we would like to ask a help, but at some points that we have like a guilty feeling inside of.
Okay. Thank you for the question. All right. So I understand. Not everyone can ask for help. Yeah. Especially for those who some who not really have a confidence. Confident, that means you have a friends that you can share your feelings in time of distress, or in time of stress. Yeah. But not everybody have confidence. Confident can be your colleague, yeah, your parents, a parent, or your sibling. But the sibling must the age of the sibling must 18 years old above, right? Not the young ones, yeah. Yeah, not everybody can share, can seek the seek spot, right? But what you can do, you try to seek for professional support, counselor. But if you don't believe counselor, because in Indonesia as well, sometimes our young adult, they say they don't trust the counselors, so become another issue, yeah. But if because you have no trust in everyone, because you see you experience, or you see someone had bad experience with authority person, right? So what you can do, when you feel stressed, write a journal. Yeah? Journal, your like a notebook. What do you call it? Diary. Yeah, your diary, personal diary. Yeah, because one of the most let me successful way to express your feelings is through diary, your personal diary. You put everything in your diary every day. Yeah, because you see, one of the informal mindfulness practices, right? So which me and my colleague offer to our students is we use e-calendar to improve resilience and also to build self-confidence and self-esteem for our students, right? So every day, to about 3 minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, at least the most, yeah, they practice informal mindfulness. For instance, in the morning, you get up in the morning, you smile, or you text your friend to say hi. So, a very simple one. And sometimes we ask to do brisk walk about maybe 2, 3 minutes. Look at the sky, see what happened. So the colors, the colors of the sky, and listen to the music because they just want to improve your awareness, your presence, yeah, and also to build your confidence, self-esteem that makes you slowly uh, encourage you to formally ask for help. But my suggest if you don't believe anyone, try to go to counselor first or talk to your lecturer or your colleague. But if you feel your colleague cannot keep your secret sometimes, yeah, and you don't trust anyone, try to use diary first. Yeah. So if diary does not really effective, yeah, go to another strategies like to have to sometimes to by cook sometimes we need to find only 1%, yeah. So in many studies is when we in many studies on attachment, for instance, right? So one of the requirement, yeah, for you in your life to help you is confident, at least 1%. 1%. That confidence of your really best friend. Yeah. So this only 1% because you cannot be alone. So 1%. Yeah. Guilty. Well, you feel guilty because you feel like, ala, nak cakap kawan, kawan is too busy. You feel guilty. But, you have to think about yourself because you need help. Talk to your friend, which you feel he or he is your best friend. You're confident. So remember, confident meaning that you can share your secret with her, with him. So if you cannot share your secret, that means that your friend is not your confidant. Okay? That one thing.
Thank you so much, Prof. Nurbaya. Oh, wow. I think this is a really good reminder for all of us here. So, first thing first, if I think the main point, the main message from Nurbaya just now is if it's pretty hard for you to believe or trust someone else, go to the professionals, because if it is professionals, it will be more like, yeah, well, it's a profession, so practically they have an ethics, and you can trust them, put your faith on them because it's a professionals. However, since I think because we are a social persons, we are a social human being, so practically we still have to have at least one person that we can put our faith on, and then so we can erase every guilt things and we have in our minds, that we know that we can trust them to share our experience, to share our bad things or so on. So that's the one thing when we want to build the resilience. So we know that we are never alone. And then also, if you want to be more thoughtful for yourself, I think this is something that I should also try. We need to make like self-journaling, make a diary to reflect ourselves, whether that we are in a bad situations or good situations, so we can appreciate ourselves. Oh, I think I'm also the one who is learning a lot from you. Thank you so much, Prof. Nurbaya. I'm so sorry, time is up. We have talked a lot, and then I get a lot of good response from our participants. Would you mind participants to give like reactions, good reactions, like thumbs up, love, claps your hands? Thank you so much, Prof. Nurbaya, for your times. So I think last before I close, I think we are going to present you our certificate for you, because you have given a lot of insights from for us today. Committee, would you mind to share the certificate? Once again, on behalf of Faculty of Psychology, Universitas Negeri Jakarta, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to Prof. Nurbaya Abdul Qadir for sharing your expertise with us today. Your insights have truly enriched our symposiums and provided much about as we rethink well-being from global perspective. So this is our certificates. Thank you so much for coming, for sharing your expertise, and reminds us again we are persons and as a being adults, we can raise adult in the future by practicing what you have taught us. Thank you so much, Prof. Nurbaya.
Okay, my pleasure. Thank
Okay, so much. Okay, we come to the end of the sessions today. Thank you so much for coming, for everyone. This is the last sessions. I know it's been very tough today. We've got 3 sessions in a row talking about being and something related to us, especially when we are in emerging adults phase. Hopefully, today's will give us insights, and also we learn something, and then we get a truly rich symposium, and we can rethink the well-being from global and interdisciplinary perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for the warm round of applause for us. I'm going to
Thank you very much. Hadir for that presentation. And thank you as well, MSc, for convening the sessions. Gentlemen, we shall now adjourn for a lunch break. We kindly request you to return back promptly at 13:50 as we will continue with the breakout oral presentation sessions. To help you navigate, the schedule of each breakout room will now be displayed. May the operator to share the schedule on the screen. Okay, so breakout room 1 would be for clinical or health psychology, and the presenter would be Fikriyah Iftinan Fauzi, Dwi Astuti, Aditya Putri Setiawan, Firsta Faizah, and Fira Fatma. And breakout room 2 would be for industrial and organization, and the presenter would be Diandra Elieta, Patra Mukti, Yuditya Prameswari, Rita Juwitan and Ikbiti. And for breakout room 3 would be for psychology, and the presenter would be Ananda, Medisa, Rushan, Tiara, and Hannah. Next breakout 4, medical or health psychology. The presenter would be Diana, Munadira, Nabila Putri Ami, Sri Wulandari, and Masfu Khatur. The breakout room 5 would be for educational psychology, and presenter would be Ismawati, Karimullah, Muhammad Ramadhani, Salsabila, and Najwa Salsabila Zahra. And the last breakout room is for industrial and organizational psychology, and the presenter would be Mailia, Afrilia, M. Indrawan, Sylvia, Dani Nurhil Firmansyah. All right, thank you. We would also like to remind all presenters to kindly prepare your presentation slides in advance, as you are expected to share your screen independently during your sessions. Please also recheck your assigned breakout room to ensure a smooth flow later on. We would like to inform all participants that the symposium materials will be shared together with your e-certificates after you completed the attendance form provided by the committee. We wish you a pleasant lunch and fruitful networking. See you!